Treasurer Yashwant H. Jain, past presidents present here, dear members and other invitees. It is an immense pleasure to welcome the guest speaker all the way from Bangalore. And two, three things, the beauty of the speaker I can tell, that in the single phone call, when Vishal made him call, he accepted, yes, he was ready for the ACA. That requires a big round of applause. Even only on single go. And when we asked the sir, whichever date, he was very flexible, say, sir, whatever date you fix it. So that is the way the flexibility and acceptance both came together. Second, the speaker, no, I was just thinking of that how the speaker would be and how the group discussion would be. It was my dream project saying that let us have a group discussion. So I was thinking that how the things, then the beauty of the speaker comes here. We never told him that please come and observe the groups, but he voluntarily came. That also requires a good round of applause. Very, but it was a spontaneous response which comes from the heart. So very vibrant speaker, and you have seen from the research, the case study and the papers which he has presented before you. And I must acknowledge the Vishal. I told you in the morning itself, I was there for the group discussion and say that we need your involvement. That was my dream project. But Vishal dream project was, sir, that group discussion has to be led by Jatin Christopher only. That was his commitment. I mean, so dedicated. I asked, what Vishal, what you find? No, sir. If you call Jatin, sir, you will he will take the session very strong way, very vibrant way. That was the impression. He attended his your sessions, so he was very impressed by the way you presented. So it's with a great pleasure I welcome Jatin Christopher sir for your kind acceptance, and all the members are here sitting here are excited to listen to you, and I will not take much of your time. One or two things which comes to my mind I must share with you. The first, in the morning we have spoke about membership. The everybody was very happy that yes, we have almost crossed 50 new members till today. This is only 3 months time, and in that the target which I wanted, like Modi ji, he would not have achieved it, but you make sure I should achieve. My target is ab ki baar 500 par, 500. This time we should cross 500. Now we are around 425 or something. So at least we need 75 more new members, and I can make sure that programs which are planned in the future are very good, and you will enjoy the quality, you will enjoy the difference, and you will enjoy the vibration, I can tell you, in all the programs. So you can market it, say it to your friends and those who are not our members, that make it, that you make this dream comes true. And that is the one appeal which I wanted to make you. Second, you can market in such a way that saying that we are having one RRC, and in RRC the bonding and the relation what we maintain. I feel from the last 20 years I have been attending all the RRCs, not even a single I missed it till today. So the bonding and the relation which I carry sitting each one of you, that bonding we need it. That comes only when you attend the RRCs. And 3 days full of fellowship, full of bonding, and you will come to know this group discussion. Also, we had a one what you say, one objective in our mind, that I wanted each one of you to introduce yourself, make this group a personal group, saying that maybe secretary would have created the WhatsApp group. Now it is the duty of the group leader, Vinay, Mohit, the others, Jugal and Naveen. all, and even including Bharat. Bharat was master. He was in NASA. So Bharat also. So all the 5 group leaders, make sure that you interact with them. You make a good bonding with them. At least 25 new members you are a friends. And I wanted that I have shared the first message that please save the contact. Introduce yourself and save the contact. Therefore, whenever you attend any meeting, you have a lot of good friends and lot of people to talk. So make use of that WhatsApp group and make it. Yes, we need vibration. We need such kind of what you say, the quality programs, the quality training, quality refreshment, and everything will be taken care of. Make sure that my target, our target, आपकी बार. Thank you.
I would now like to call Anup Shishimal, who will introduce the speaker.
It's a privilege to introduce the legend of indirect taxation, Mr. Jatin sir. Jatin sir is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and law graduate, qualified in 1996, and specializes in indirect tax laws. He is a published author and a resource person for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in various post-qualification programs on indirect taxation, and extends support to ICAI in publication of educational and research material on various indirect tax topics. He is also a resource person for the government in conducting training for practitioner, trade, and officers. He's been in practice since 2000 and as a partner in JCSS, a full service firm with presence across India. Thank you, sir. Welcome to this.
I would now like to call Pari sir to please felicitate the speaker with a shawl. I would also request Raj Kapoor sir to please come forward to give a memento to the speaker.
You take it now. We have an ample opportunity. Now we take it.
Thank you. The floor is now open to you, speaker sir.
Good afternoon, friends. I see the effort everyone has put in the various groups to consider these cases for discussion. The purpose of these cases, when we're discussing, was to see how we can bring a certain perspective that we might have missed in the busyness of our business. We're so burdened with taking care of so many clients that we may somehow miss to take advantage of the provisions, the remedies, and the opportunities that come up because of the department's own doing. So in that light, various transactions were identified so that through those case discussions, various provisions get our attention and we're able to look into it. There is a time that Vishal has said we should set aside towards the later part of this evening to answer questions. I'll go through some of those case discussions, not to answer all those questions, but to only bring to your attention things that we will need to consider that we tend to overlook when we are dealing with actual cases. To begin with, we should maintain some objectivity. Very often, we empathize with the client so much that we are speaking on behalf of the client. We decide which issues we should fight. We decide which issues we should accept and discharge. So much so that the client does not even take ownership for those decisions. And then we are disappointed that the client does not appreciate the extent of effort that has gone in. But if we maintain a certain amount of objectivity, it does two things. One, it places accountability on the client for making decisions, whether to pay the demand or to contest the demand. The second thing is it allows us freedom, creative freedom as far as how we want to approach any notice. Anybody here who thinks all your clients are loyal to you? Please raise it. Not even one person? Not even one client with one chartered accountant is loyal to you? Only one person. One client is loyal to you, sir. Of all the clients, only one is. Many are there. 10. All other 990 clients of sir are not loyal to him. 10 clients are loyal. Let's consider why should they be loyal to us? We are a solution to their problem or requirement. As long as we remain useful, they are welcome to work with us. The moment we stop being useful in their business for their requirements, they should work with somebody else. Anybody here who believes that your clients don't have phone numbers of other consultants who are also in this room? In fact, please bear in mind, I mean, if you ever forget, if you don't know, you miss in your mobile phone another chartered accountant's phone number, you don't have to go and ask president during the association, secretary, treasurer. Ask your client. He will only give you who are those people who he keeps in mind when there are issues concerning whether GST, income tax, company law, whatever may be those issues. Having said that, let me ask you this question. If there's a client who says, I don't want to pay and settle issues, you know what I mean by that? You also know what I mean by that? Very good. Everybody knows this. One nation. If a client says, I don't want to do that, so many years I've been doing it, ab bas, mujhe karna nahi. Who is the consultant who is available in Chennai जो ऑफिसर को आंख दिखा के बात कर सके? Anybody here? नहीं करेंगे करेंगे कमरे में तो करेंगे. It greatly affects the kind of practice we have because we have to choose. I don't think it is possible to be cordial and accommodative and understanding and all those things in one case, and in another case, we are very strictly following the rule book. It requires us to make a decision whether with certain cases we will do this, certain areas we will do this, central we will do this, state we will not do this, whatever we need to do. But at least these discussions possibly bring to your attention that there is another way of doing practice. And to do the things that is very commonly done does not require any amount of training. Because we never when did we learn all these things? Inter? No, final. We were never taught how to deal with these things, but somehow we went along those lines and picked up these practical skills, if I may call it that. And today we have got victimized. We become a victim of these compulsions. Clients will tell us what has to be done. We express helplessness as far as what we should do. But my sense is, I don't find anyone who is expressing unhappiness that my client is making me do all these things. We've sort of reconciled that this is the only way it has to be done. There's no other way. You can't object and you can't raise these grounds for the department to respond. But the thing about GST, unlike earlier tax regime, is that there are so many safeguards provided for the taxpayer in the law. If we are able to recognize what those are, we will be able to come to grips with what is the extent of that safeguard that is available in law. The reason why this is important is there are many wrong things that department is doing in the name of protecting interest of revenue. Interest of revenue is involved, so I can do this. I'll give you a few examples touching upon some of the things that we're doing here. There are very few officers in audit wing of the department, center and state. So that audit responsibility has been taken up by enforcement wing of the State Department and by DGGI anti-evasion preventive in the Central Tax Department. But how can anti-evasion take up audit issues? They're able to take it up because of their own internal compulsions, but unless they have jurisdiction conferred under Chapter 2, they cannot conduct these proceedings. In Karnataka, I have seen this instance where when the time to file return, issue notices under 73 was passed, they still continued with the inquiry saying that demands can now be raised under section 74. But my question is, how did you think that there is some suppression going on, resulting in evasion of tax, even before you commenced your inquiry? Friends, please bear in mind, tell me if you think differently. Once a client is selected for any proceeding, 65, 67, maybe 63 also, when any client is selected, any taxpayer is selected for any proceeding, it will end in only two ways, DRC 3 or DRC 1. There is no other resolution for this unless it is the traditional method of resolution. That is also DRC 3 only. Correct, na? DRC 3.5. So therefore, we have to make a choice. What is the issue that is being raised? And where will this go and end? If department says, let's take two simple issues and two complex issues. If department says 2A is not matching 3B, do you think they're going to drop the demand no matter what explanation you provide, or they're going to confirm the demand? DRC 3 or DRC 1? So therefore, if it is going into adjudication and probably in appeal, what should you not do today that you are itching to do? What are the things that you should do today that we are omitting to do? Should come to our mind. Whose 2A is matching with 3B? Anybody here, your 2A is matching 3B? Though actually there are some people whose 2A is matching 3B. They are very famous. Their photo comes in paper. So therefore, 2A is not matching 3B for various reasons. By giving a reconciliation, you have accepted the allegation that 16(2)(c) is violated. 2A is not matching 3B. Does it arise because of 16(2)(c) or 16(2)(a)? So therefore, We are not interested in finding the cause of action in law. We are so interested in concluding this proceeding that we are happy to complete the question and give the answer. CA students are like, if the question is wrong, we will correct the question and then give the right answer. There are some others who will give the answer to the wrong question and prove that the question is wrong and then give the correct answer. There will be choice. 3 you have to answer out of 5. We'll answer 5 and give choice to valuer. GST is not the place to do this. To know what not to say requires greater craft than just intelligence to be able to know what to say. And I find in GST, there's a lot of disservice we are doing to clients by offering extensive replies and forfeiting the safeguards available in law. RCM demand is quite common. We take that as another example. Freight charges appearing in your P&L account, you have to pay tax again. You have to pay RCM because freight attracts RCM. Or for example, creditors, your closing balance of creditors is so much and therefore you have not paid your creditors, you have to reverse ITC. But who knows if the chart of accounts, that's the heads of accounts in our financials, is it prepared according to HSN system of classification? Then how come freight contains only GTA services? And that too GTA services at 5% tax, not at 12%. So therefore, we fail to avail these remedies. And the remedies are basically, we have to be confident about self-assessment. Because Parliament says, I will rely on the taxpayer to do assessment. And I will rely on the officer to interfere with the taxpayer's assessment by exception. There are only 3 ways in which they can interfere. 61, which deals with scrutiny, 65, which deals with audit, and 67, which deals with inspection. 61 is only related to scrutiny of returns. 61 does not lead to 79. Correct? 61 does not lead to 79. So therefore, the reply, if it is satisfactory or not, is irrelevant because it will actually lead only to 73, 74 if the reply is not satisfactory, and that is the right time to provide the answer. But the way we respond to 61 requires us to establish whether the demand is disputed or the demand is undisputed. 2 other issues to consider is can DGGI issue notice under 73? Can there be allegation of evasion of tax under 74 without showing how the taxpayer has benefited from taking such an interpretation? Ultimately, evasion should result in benefit. If evasion does not result in benefit, then it is error of interpretation. Every non-payment of tax is not evasion of tax. Non-payment of tax can take place due to for bona fide reasons also. So therefore, the purpose of these case studies have been to bring out some of those aspects, but with a certain context, whether it is solar plant or e-way bills or notices demanding reversal of credit and so on and so forth, is to bring out points for us to consider that greatly advance the possibility of a favorable outcome eventually rather than immediately. So therefore, please consider how are we approaching notices. Many times, as soon as we get the notice, there is 2 things that happen is, one, we are rushing to start answering to the notice. Second, we are looking for case law. Friends, let me tell you, This actually took place in tribunal in the context of service tax. There is a young chartered accountant who stood up to argue this case. The facts of his case were directly covered by a Supreme Court decision. So he stood up and said, they called out the case number. He stood up to argue and he said, the facts of my case are squarely covered by a Supreme Court decision. So the judge asked him, does that mean you're not going to explain to us what is the facts? He said, of course I will explain what the facts are. Then shall we leave the case law outside for the time being? Supreme Court case law. The judge was not planning to disagree with the Supreme Court case law, but the judge is not willing to outsource his thinking to a case law. So therefore, why are we outsourcing our thinking to case law? 16 को कोई latest case law क्या? Latest? कोई latest है? 2025 का है क्या? 24 का पुराना हो जाएगा. Latest चाहिए मुझे. So therefore, please bear in mind, leave the case law outside. Form an opinion कि 16(4) में आपका केस बनता है नहीं बनता है. There must be grounds on which you have to put forward your arguments. And if there is a case law in support of your view, you're welcome to cite it. In fact, we have a responsibility. If there is a case law against us, put forward that also and possibly try to show why that judgment has no application in our facts of the case. So therefore, it's tremendously important for us to sort of readjust the way we are viewing notices. That's my only request. And these instances are all only to bring out that aspect. Next aspect to consider is department has a strategy at work. Last 6-7 years, have you seen it? There's a strategy at work. कुछ तो सोच के कर रहे हैं. Far more competent people are on the taxpayer side who don't have any strategy. Far less capable are sitting on the other side and they seem to be having a strategy. Good, bad, does not matter. There is a strategy, 2 lakh crores every year is revenue. That's the proof. Whether it's good, bad, working, not working, whether it is correct, eventually what will happen, all of those things come in secondary. There is a strategy at work. My question to you is, do we have any strategy at work as far as all notices are concerned? I'll bring 2 points for your consideration. I don't want to, again, like I said, go into all of these things because you have already given it your thought and consideration. You have a view. We will discuss some points as if that is the final word. I'm also learning GST and I don't want to make it sound like there's a great amount of wisdom that I will now declare what the law should be and you're supposed to accept it. You can have a view that is better, more reasoned than the view that I have been following. If we consider exactly how we are approaching this, the purpose of this strategy, many times I see chartered accountants express unhappiness that but clients don't pay for all this. That's the response I get. No, all what you're saying is okay, but I'll file a reply, we'll get an adverse order, then who's going to pay deposit? You have to file appeal, who's going to pay for appeal? Client doesn't pay for all of these things. I've got that response. My question is, let's say a client says, chalo, you file appeal. Do you know how to file appeal? How ready are we to carry the matter forward in that direction? I know the form, I know how to fill the form, but do I know what not to say in that form? I'll give an example. 17-18, what was the last date for passing orders? Okay, you only have to answer that question. 31st December was what day of the week? Nobody should answer it. The same team you cannot do.
Support.
31st December was a Sunday. 31st December was a Sunday. Orders were passed on Sunday. You have to file appeal under 107(1) within 3 months from the date of communication of the order. date of order and date of communication of the order, is it one and the same? If it was one and the same, why did the legislature use two different words, sets of words to express it? Date of communication of the order is what? The date when it came to my attention. I've seen APL 1 filed that says date of order 31st December, date of service of order, column number 7, 31st December. 31st December, if you see the timestamp in the digital signature, it says 4:19 p.m. 4:19 p.m. officer signed. Maybe half an hour later he uploaded, and you received it on 31st December 4:19 p.m. Why did you fill up column number 7 saying 31st December? We are not paying attention. We think date of order is same as date of communication of order. Please bear in mind, APL 1 is asking taxpayer, who is the appellant, to make an affirmative statement of date of communication of order. Every day do you open the portal? Every day do you see your email? It all depends on what is your nature of business and your background. A person who's supplying sweepers to the municipality, how often do you think he will check his login? How often will he open his email? The earliest he will open his email is the date when he filed GSTR 1 in January, which was say 9th or 10th or 11th. Did he open the portal on 31st December Sunday after 4:30 in the evening to check if any orders have been passed? What a diligent taxpayer he is. We are failing our clients by filling 31st December as the date of communication of the order. Take an instance that the taxpayer says 31st December was a Sunday, 1st January, he was not in a condition to open the portal. Sending the communication, receiving the communication. Mail reaching my mailbox is different from mail, the notice order entering my mind. Communication is not delivering. Communication is to ultimately, I have to receive it to decide what I want to do next with it. They have sent it. We've seen this, contract law. When is the offer complete as far as the offerer is concerned, and when is the offer complete as far as the offer is, you remember CA foundation days? And the foundation forgot about it. Final tak aa gaye. Why should I remember all those things? We should, because this confusion won't come. मेल में आ तो गया, खोलना चाहिए तुमको. हम खोले 7th and 11th January को. Let's say I file APL 1 column number 7 saying date of communication of order 11th January. Order is time barred or not? He should have communicated it to me. Now the question arises is whether he should have passed the order by 31st December, even if he has communicated it subsequent to 31st December. That will require modification of 7310. Now the appellate authority has to decide whether 31st December dated order communicated on 11th of January is valid or time barred. Friends, in a date, there are questions of law that will open up, isn't it? Similarly, 30th April, 31st May, all the dates that you identified, date of receiving the notice, are we paying attention to it? We need to pay attention to it because it has consequences as to when my rights will start thereafter.
But the Supreme Court has confirmed the moment officer uploaded the return. That is the date of.
No, sir. No.
Yes.
That is not good. Sir, that is not good law. I'm telling you, sir. There is no definitive direction of the Supreme Court in the context of GST saying that uploading on the order is the end of communication to me. So please consider. I'll submit it for your consideration. You are welcome to consider it and then disregard it. 169 provides 14 different ways of communication of the order. When one thing has to be done in one way, why 14 ways are provided? See, purpose of issuing a notice is not to finish their job. Purpose of issuing the notice is to allow the other person to decide what he wishes to do next within the law. If 14 ways are specified, 14 ways are specified because there are that many varieties of taxpayers for whom one size fits all approach is not fair and equitable. Ultimately, the purpose of issuing a notice is to decide what I should do next. And what is the mode of service that they select also has to be just and proper. It cannot be that they have done their job, so therefore it is my problem to keep looking at the portal every day. So I'll give you this. So we filed an appeal saying that the date when the bank account got attached was the date when I received the order. Appeal got admitted. And then on merits, it was considered some partial relief came to be allowed because the appellate authority does not want to be seen taking help of unfamiliarity with portal functionalities by the taxpayer who is supplying sweepers to the municipality to say that portal service is commensurate with the background of this taxpayer. I'll give you a contrast for this in another provision. Taxpayer has discharged tax, interest has not been discharged. Show cause notice has been issued under 73 demanding interest. Section 73 says there are 5 reasons why a show cause notice can be given. Tax is short paid, not paid, refund wrongly taken, credit wrongly utilized. This demand can be confirmed along with applicable interest. But there is no provision in 73 to only demand interest. Now, when the tax liability has been discharged, interest thereon is also an undischarged arrear covered by section 75(12). Now, to recover interest, department has invoked 73 when they had provisions in 75(12). 75(12) requires them to issue notice under an intimation under 88D read with rule 142B. So now I tell the officer, sir, there is 75(12) and 142B. There is 73. How can there be 2 methods to do one thing? There cannot be. 142B is because tax has been paid, so there is no dispute about the tax. It is an undisputed tax that is discharged. Interest on undisputed tax is also an undisputed amount which is fallen in arrears. When it is already undisputed, there is a question of giving show cause notice. Please withdraw this show cause notice, drop the demand. Officer, drop the demand. Then officer issued intimation under 142B. This demand relates to 1819. 142B was inserted from 4/8/23. Short reply to this letter stating that rule was inserted from 4/8/23. How are you using it for 1819? But if I say like this, you are saying that. If I do like that, you're saying. I'm only interested in following the law. The law kept getting improvised year on year. And I am not responsible for those changes in the law. But when there is a very specific provision in 142B, how can 73 be used? Why is that relevant? In this context, if you see, when there is a specific provision to impose penalty under 122(1)(7), they cannot use 122(2)(b). When they have chosen to invoke 122(2)(b), it is not accidental, it is deliberate. There are 2 things that are deliberate. Deliberately, they have used 122(2)(b). Deliberately, they are satisfied that 122.17 cannot be used. What they have chosen to do, what they have not chosen to do, both become my defense. 122.2b cannot be imposed when it is more specifically covered by 122.17. 122.17 not having been invoked, even that cannot be confirmed in adjudication. If no penalty can be imposed, it only means none of the ingredients resulting in that particular offense have taken place. So therefore 74 also cannot survive. No, but whether you have done fake or not fake does not arise. We'll come to the facts later. First, let us at least establish whether what are they proposing to do. Contrast that with DGGI issuing notice under 73. If it is evasion, notice must be issued under 74. When notice is not issued under 74, it means there is no evasion. Who is saying this? Not me. Department is saying there is no evasion. When department says there is no evasion, how did DGGI at all conduct that investigation? Because 67(1) says investigation can be conducted only in matters involving evasion of supplies, isn't it? The reason why we have to examine what they're trying to do is because through in the form of various sections, department is communicating various things to the taxpayer. They are saying that there is no evasion when they issue notice under 74. They are saying that there is evasion when they issue notice under 74. But when they say there is evasion, they have to show what is the evasion, isn't it? So therefore, friends, when you consider these instances, things come to light to identify how department has a very tough task of issuing a notice. So let me ask you, how many have tried to write a show cause notice? Anybody has tried to write a show cause notice? Any issue, 2A, 3B? Never? No, have you tried to draft a show cause? Why not? My job is to only reply. Only if we try to write a show cause notice, obviously we're going to make several drafts, refine it and correct it. Will we understand how a show cause notice on this issue should be issued so that it covers all the necessary ingredients to bring home the allegation? And then you compare with notices that are being issued, you will get a good understanding of what the gaps in the notice are. No. Everything is not done in one centralized place. Every officer has, no one is acting under dictation saying that copy this format and proceed it. Everyone is trying. They're also engaging various experts. Under 153, several chartered accountants have been engaged, empaneled to assist the department in drafting notices. But the question is that when notices are drafted by us as an exercise, we will get a good sense of how a notice should be issued. I mean, as you read your own first draft, you will find areas to correct, second draft, fifth draft, 10th draft. Now, if you feel you're satisfied, now compare with the notices that you're receiving. That itself will give you grounds on how we will need to respond to these notices. Once one aspect you identify, you will proceed further to identify. Because we all have, because there's a necessity for us to train ourselves, and this course has trained us enough to become experts in self-learning. How should we learn? What is this new subject? How do we go about dealing with this? This is something that we have understood. What is essential in all this is we need to get cases. We need to get notices. We need to get issues to work on. That's when we'll build that experience. My request, if it's possible, take 5 assignments for free. Possibly for people who can't afford to pay that demand. And if such people are not available, possibly those who can't even afford your fees. Because in 5 assignments, the refinement in our way of looking at notices, drafting replies will undergo such great transformation that for the next 50 notices, we will know how to deal with it and how to provide responses. We somehow believe very innocently, if I explain everything to the officer, then officer has no choice but to allow relief. But sadly, the officer's role is not to appreciate your facts. The officer's responsibility is only to find ways to save the demand. Find ways to save the demand. So therefore, officer has this predicament because he sees that there's revenue leakage. Here is this taxpayer who's sending material to a fictitious address. So he intercepts the vehicle and then proceeds to confiscate. When department intercepts a vehicle, I've seen in Tamil Nadu there's a circular of last January, I think, which says that all locations have to have registration. You can't deliver in the sea. It has to be only registered location. Only some highway construction is an exception where you can deliver, e-way bill can be issued to an address which is not a registered location. If you understand the way things are being considered from that point of view, you will now need to know when a vehicle is intercepted, what should be done. The first approach that comes to mind, generally we should not try because that first approach is that old approach. That one. That what you're exactly what you're thinking. No, that one we should not do. Sir also knows what you're thinking. See, in the association, how that unity, sir was talking about bonding, no? The next approach that comes to mind is confusing. Now, what needs to be done? If that is not the approach you want to follow, what's the next approach? Friends, in most cases I've seen in Tamil Nadu, somehow it's quite common. They have asked the taxpayer to pay penalty under IGST in Karnataka GST number and send the challan here. So payment was made in Karnataka GST number, penalty under IGST, challan shown to the officer here. Vehicle has been released. Taxpayer has filed refund application in Karnataka. There is no cause of action in Karnataka for this. So that payment is not valid. So therefore he is entitled to refund. Where is the order here in Tamil Nadu? Officer saw chala said, okay, you can go. Friends, your familiarity with local practices are definitely going to be your differentiator with those who come in with experiences in other states. But what is important to identify is in a given procedure, what are the rights, remedies, and safeguards? For example, we're talking about summons earlier today. When a summons are issued, who should it be issued to? Let's take that as an example. Who should summons be issued to? Can summons be issued to a customer? Can summons be issued to a transporter? Can summons be issued to the managing director of the assessee's company? Should summons be issued to the accountant in the assessee's company? What will summons produce? A statement will be recorded and the statement will contain what? It will contain facts and opinion. It will contain facts and opinion. Facts are you registered? Yes, I am registered. Fact. Did you pay tax? Did you file returns last month? Yes, I filed returns. Fact. Why statements are required in respect of facts? Because those facts are anyway not disputed. Why statements are required? Is this contract liable to GST? The answer to that question, is it a fact or an opinion? So and so contract that you have entered into, is it liable to GST? Is it a fact or an opinion? Can managing director give correct opinion? So his answer will be it is taxable, or his answer will be it is not taxable. What is the relevance of such a statement to issue a demand? No relevance. All statements that contain opinions are unreliable because person who can make a statement must first be examined whether he is competent to make such a statement. Who in the country is most competent to give a correct opinion about whether that contract is taxable or not taxable? Nobody. Supreme Court only said that GST is very complicated. That judge from Gujarat High Court who went to Supreme Court mentioned that you can go to the moon and come back, but you can't understand GST. I don't know he was talking about a particular person or about himself. But he did make the statement. So therefore, what is the worth of a statement? What a statement contains. Summons is issued, summons is recorded. What is the worth of that statement to substantiate a demand? It is worth the extent of importance taxpayer is willing to give. Taxpayer thinks that when I have written down that it is taxable, I can't go back on that. When a taxpayer says this contract is liable to GST, as informed by you, it is taxable at 18%, taxpayer thinks that he can't go back on that. Until you admit liability within the due process. How do you admit liability within the due process? DRC3. Until DRC3 is generated and taxes discharged, you don't have to, you can always have a better opinion tomorrow. Yesterday I thought it was taxable, today not taxable. But you paid through DRC3 last time. That's why for 2 years I will have time to file refund application. So that's why this concept of limitation, res judicata, these are all very important aspects as far as GST is concerned. So when you pay some money under a misinformation, are you bound to follow that throughout? If you pay some money under misinformation, are you bound to follow that forever? You are welcome to change your opinion and do something different tomorrow. And time permitting, you can go back and claim refund of what you have paid wrongly. Isn't it? So therefore, friends, what aspect of an investigation or an inquiry in GST do you think is undisputable? Is there anything that is undisputable? I'll give an example. What is the difference between sponsorship and advertisement? If anyone can describe, what do you think is the difference between sponsorship and advertisement? No difference. No difference. I will give money and I will get publicity. And that money you will use to incur cost of conducting your event. If I give it to you and you call it sponsorship, it is sponsorship. If you see circular 116, there is so much confusion in the circular itself. They say, if you display the name in a big size font, it is sponsorship. If it is advertisement, if it is small, it is. It is we who are actually completing the investigation for the department. Department is only canvassing a certain view, saying that, no, it's not like this, it should be like that. What is our response? When we give a response, we are now affirming or disaffirming what department is trying to say. So when you look at any proceeding, let's say vehicle is intercepted, client calls up in a great hurry, what should you? We are already feeling the same tension that the client is feeling. What can you do when the vehicle is intercepted, when the first method is not supposed to be followed? Second method is you pay whatever penalty is imposed and prefer appeal against that, agitating this whole issue. Is confiscation possible? Let's give 2 examples. An assessee has been trading in goods for a long time and he has never heard of e-way bill. He is hearing other things. He is not hearing these things. He's never heard of e-way bill. Department comes to conduct audit. They find that e-way bills have never been used. So they invoke section 129 for all the consignments and levy 200% penalty. Correct? Not correct? Why is it not correct? Sorry. So during movement, there should be an interception and there should be an infraction of 138A, then only 200% penalty under 129(1)A can be imposed. But if successfully the movement has ended, somehow, he is free from 129. Is this fair or not fair? How can this be? If he was caught, he would have paid 200% because now he got caught during audit. Can they impose penalty? No, there is a proper officer under 68. There is a proper officer under 65. Isn't it? There are ingredients to impose penalty under 129(1)A and there are other ingredients in case of non-use of e-way bill. So friends, please be very careful. There is something artificial, there is something deliberate that is attempted in the law by parliament and we are supposed to follow that law. We are not supposed to do something beyond what the law requires us to do. So this person has never used e-way bill, successfully all the metal has reached his location. Now anything further can be done? Nothing further can be done. Exactly like this, department comes and searches his premises and finds a shortage of stock. Normally, how do they find shortage of stock? Department will come in unannounced. They will come in and ask the assessee to provide trading account. Correct? And they will do physical verification. Auditor takes 2 days, officer takes 4 hours. So there is a physical stock that is taken and there is a book stock that is prepared in the form of a statement signed by proprietor on both and given to the department. Department says there is a difference. Now, let us say book stock is less than physical stock. Is output tax payable or not payable? Think carefully. Don't give answer fast. Book stock is 100. Physical stock is 150. Any output tax payable? Excess physical stock is more. If physical stock is more, it only means what? Purchases have not been accounted. If purchases are not accounted, ITC has not been taken. Any output tax liability to be paid? Department says this excess stock we will confiscate and go under 120 and confiscate under 130. Possible, not possible? Second example, book stock is 200, physical stock is 175. Book stock is 200, physical stock is 175. Does it mean that sales have been made without raising invoices? That's the only explanation. Is it possible that output tax should be demanded, or is it possible that ITC should be denied on 25% on 25 units? Physical stock is not there, credit is taken. Could it be a case that bills have been purchased without physically receiving those goods? Or does it always have to be that goods are also received, invoice also received, credit taken, accounted properly, but sold without invoice? In neither of these cases, one answer is a must. In addition to this, department requires more information and more evidence. If they say that sales have been made without invoice, they should find a customer. They should get a confirmation that he has purchased without bill. And the proceeds from that sale must also be explainable. But if you see most notices, difference in stock, straightaway demand is made and the first method is followed and some liability is discharged. First, you know which one? For that method. Now you please tell me how physical book stock is prepared and given to department when they come in for inspection. Let us say in North Chennai. South also it happens, but as an example, How is stock arrived at, sir? Very quickly you have to prepare stock. How will you arrive at, sir? Any of the team leaders? Okay, you, sir. Purchases, opening stock is clear. Purchases, and then GP, sales, stock. What is to? That is for final. This is after final. Law and practice. What about it, sir? Correct. Now the book stock that is given is in value terms. Now department has done some physical verification. How did they arrive at the value of the physical stock? Are we questioning both these documents? Can both documents be wrong? Both documents can be wrong. The entire allegation of the department becomes reliable when we don't contest it. Because this is derived, that is arrived. So please be very careful. None of these instances it is possible for anyone to propose one answer, because all these situations will have more than one answers. So when you look at instances where confiscation is proposed, let's say an assessee has purchased without bills, sold also without bills. Simple case. मतलब इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है. Purchased without bills, sold also without bills. Department has come to know that he has sold without bills. Can they confiscate it and impose redemption fine under 130 subsection 2? Sorry? No, monetary fine they will impose under 130 subsection 2. This, let's say 50 lakhs worth of material have sold without discharging GST. So therefore we want to confiscate, and instead of confiscating will impose a redemption fine. 130 subsection 2. Possible? To confiscate, you should have custody. To confiscate, you should have custody. Just like we saw the example, to impose penalty under 129, you must catch during interception. If movement has concluded, 129 cannot be invoked. So for confiscation, seizure is must. Which is the provision in GST law to do seizure? 67(2), search, seizure, and 129, where there's interception and there is detention. Correct? So friends, please be very mindful. In cases where confiscation is attempted without issuing MOE 7 and 9, is it possible for them to proceed with confiscation? They may have the truck in the department, but the truck must be detained lawfully. Now, what are the requirements under 67(2) to conduct seizure? What is required in 67(2)? The offending articles must be secreted. If inventory is kept in the godown, it cannot be seized. If inventory is kept in the false roofing, secreted. Correct, no? So 67(2) requires INS 1 part C to be identified for them to proceed with seizure. After seizure, confiscation is possible, or vehicle should be determined. If there is invoice and e-way bill, can the goods be detained? Under 68 and 129, if there is invoice and e-way bill, can the goods be detained? Can intercepting officer do revaluation of the goods? Can he change classification? No classification issue, no valuation issue, nothing. Invoice should be there, e-way bill should be there. Even if it is wrong value, right value, anything. If detention is not possible, confiscation also not possible. If goods are not secreted, seizure is also not possible. So again, confiscation. Friends, we need to see, we need to trace the sections to where is the source of the power and where is the action based on that power. You understand? In all interception cases, normally I make suggestion that 2 letters have to be filed. 129 1C request to release goods under bond. Whether they will allow or they will not allow is a different matter. One letter, please release the goods under bond. Second, if you're planning to confiscate, give me option to pay redemption fine under subsection 2 to 130 without prejudice. I don't agree with this, but if you're planning, then I don't want to lose custody of the goods. I'll give bond, you can release it, or I will pay fine and collect the goods. Now, what is the reason that department can say, I will not allow you to release on bond? Any reason is there? There's no justification. I am registered, I'm giving you a bond. I dispute this entire proceeding. Give me an order, we will see later. It is not allowed. If I ask for redemption fine, can they forcibly confiscate it? What are therefore the preemptive steps we can take? I'll give you two examples, preemptive steps from department side. 86A and section 83, rule 86A, section 83. Department says, investigation has been commenced, so I will provisionally attach your property. 83, provisional attachment of property has been, let's say bank account has been provisionally attached. Show cause notice required for 83 or show cause notice not required for 83? It is preemptive. That is why no show cause notice. No natural justice violate. ये natural justice चिल्लाने वाले जो है. Show cause notice you should give. If I give you show cause notice, you will empty the bank account. All the group leaders only know about it. They'll pass on message. Sir has told in the WhatsApp group you have to continue to be in touch. Preemptive surprise element. So therefore, property will be attached. Attached does not mean they will take it away. Is there a difference between provisional attachment and seizure and confiscation? Confiscation, the property will pass to the government. Seizure, only custody will pass to government. Provisional attachment, it will stay with you, but provisionally attached in favor of the government. So therefore, please be very careful. No need to get nervous about provisional attachment. To vacate provisional attachment, what should be done? Reply in DRC 22A within 15 days. What reply should be given? Anybody, can you suggest? What should you show that makes provisional attachment unnecessary? 3 points. Assessee has filed his returns and they are up to date. Assessee demands a notice to be given if any liability exists. There is no risk of absconding. If 3 points are placed on records, how can provisional attachment remain? Isn't it? Because there is an obvious concern commissioner will have that you may go to High Court and get this provisional attachment vacated. And if they don't give show cause notice, then this investigation itself is an excuse, isn't it, to exert pressure? Now we see 86A, rule 86A. Department has blocked some credits. Can department block ad hoc figures? They have to have particular invoice, the credit is appearing, that much they can block. Department blocks credit and you come to know when you're filing your returns that you're not able to utilize certain amount of credit. What can we do to get that credit unblocked? The credit stays blocked for 1 year. After that, it has to get automatically released. Now the question is, what should you do to get the credit unblocked? First method. Request officer. Meet him in Saravana Bhavan. No. Oh. Please contact sir. You have to question which of the 5 clauses of 86A are attracted in this case, because 86A preemptive power is given when supply is bogus, supplier is bogus, recipient is bogus, tax payment is bogus, invoice is bogus. Which of these, because one of the 5 has they cannot be vague about it. They have to tell particularly so and so things have taken place. First letter, demanding disclosure of reasons for blocking. Next letter, demanding show cause notice. You have decided this is bogus. You have decided this is bogus. Why are you not giving show cause notice? If you don't give show cause notice, then you are not sure. Confidence hai to notice do. Normally, the tendency is to show confidence, show cause notice will be given. Third letter. Now that show cause notice has been given, you can't keep it blocked. because recovery is only after adjudication, not before. So therefore, 86A has to get blocked. Friends, please be very careful. Can we trace the power? Are we able to trace the power to the in the statute to see where from they are deriving this authority, and therefore what is it that they cannot do, what is it that they can do? And if these are the only things that they can do and these are the things that they cannot do, then which of the things that they should not do they have done? How should I raise objections? The greatest disservice we do to ourselves is verbal communication with department. We want to meet them, discuss with them, talk to them, encourage them, motivate them, inspire them, convince them, somehow prevail upon them. Friends, I've seen this. I've tried this also. I've seen this. If you write letters, they are very anxious. What will happen next? They're now more careful how to reply to that letter. Have you ever got a reply from DGGI? You have filed objection. They have given reply saying that, giving explanation to your reply. I can share some replies from DGGI. So an investigation started in February 2023. Till now, party has not attended summons because we are still trying to clarify what exactly they can do in the investigation. Please tell us what you can do the investigation. So friends, please be very careful. Officers are very conscious, very mindful of not falling foul with the due process in the law. They are very careful, they are very mindful, they are very aware. They are trained also so that their actions are not found to be unauthorized and illegal. But section 160 subsection 2 says that we have a duty to question and understand the authority they are exercising before we answer to their questions. Next aspect I will suggest. Next aspect I will bring to your attention. Can you refuse to give books of accounts to department? Can you refuse? Few instances I will share with you. Department said, please produce last 6 years books. We want to do audit under section 65. 3 years books were sent to the department. Officer got upset. If officer gets upset, what does it mean? It means we are going in the right direction. No? If officer gets upset, or in anything, friends, in your with your spouse, now you understand. When you say something and the other person gets upset, it means you are in the right direction. Now, please maintain. So we sent 3 years books. Officers got upset. He said, how can you send 3 years books? He said, time to issue notice for the first 3 years is over. Why waste time? Well, even if something is payable, why unnecessarily workload? Officer, but I have power under 74. Oh, that means you have decided there is evasion of tax. You cannot start audit with a prejudged mind. So therefore, I will not give you books. So he got even more upset. He said, you have to come and meet me. We said, we are not going to come and meet you because there's no which section. There is no section. So we said, we discussed over phone. He said, under 74, I can issue a show cause notice. He said, we requested him, you do 3 years audit. If you find anything that touches evasion, first 3 years data, I will extract and send it to you. But you can't start with the assumption that there will be some evasion of tax. So we said we are not going to give books. Next, assessee has paid 4.5 crores tax on sale of raw cotton. Raw cotton is liable to RCM. Department issued show cause notice. We have noticed from your financial statements that you have purchased raw cotton and sold raw cotton. You are liable to pay RCM on purchase of raw cotton. Assessee said, I don't know what reply to give. 4 crore 20 lakhs is the liability of RCM. forward charge 4.5 crores I have paid already. I don't know what to do. What is the good reply to give? No reply. Revenue neutral, no reply. So we got ex parte order confirming demand. We filed appeal. Please find enclosed cash payment challans in excess of 4 crore 20 lakh rupees. Hence, demand may kindly be dropped. That's all. Now, appellate authority is examining, but this 4 crore 20 lakh challan, is it RCM challan or forward tax challan? Who knows? For 4 crore 20 lakhs, I have given you challan. Now you decide what you want to do. Next ground, appellate authority said, in GSTR 9 RCM column, you have shown 0. That means you have not discharged RCM. I don't know which idiot prepared GSTR 9, sir. GSTR 9 could be wrong, sir. Can GSTR 9 be wrong? Any GSTR 9 which is perfect? Please raise your hand. All GSTR 9 are basically wrong. Financial statements, are they correct? Balance sheet. Financial statements, any information contained in financial statements, is it a reliable source of evidence? Group 1. Section 34 of Evidence Act, 1870, old act, says that books of accounts are not a reliable source of evidence in the absence of corroboration. Books of accounts are not reliable. 9(9)C are admittedly wrong. 26(a) is correct? No. 2(a) is correct? Then what is correct? My cash payment challan is correct. Now, appellate authority, if he passes an order saying that you have submitted cash challan, but GSTR 9 column number is 19 bis, because forms are wrong, can levy attract for second time? See, these cases should not get decided in adjudication. It should progress and go from strength to strength. That is how you will get relief, because the scope of inquiry will begin to narrow as the case progresses further and further. Now somebody has to decide, due to error in GSTR 9, 4 crore 20 lakhs can be demanded second time. Let's see somebody pass an order like that. You understand? So therefore, we have to understand, filing long reply, long or wrong, one of the two. Filing those replies in a great hurry will possibly do great disservice to the client when we are addressing it from this point of view. So please be very vigilant. The purpose of these examples, these instances, is not to entertain you, but to expose the areas where we may not be paying attention. We are very confident with what we know. In fact, somebody a few years ago said, "Sir, GST में क्या है sir? Up to section 52 you should be thorough. 52 के बाद तो सारे miscellaneous है." 50 interest, 51, 52 TDS, TCS over, उसके बाद क्या है? 3B, 3B, 4B, 5B, CB, everything is there only before first half. अब इंटरवल के बाद क्या रखा है पिक्चर में? सारा तो इंटरवल के बाद है. No, it's after 52 that there is a lot of work to be done. So therefore, I think we should see through these instances, we are trying to see how we can present what can be done further, what needs to be done as far as our approach to addressing these notices are concerned. It is not something that we can take lightly and say that I'll give all the information. Third instance of refusing books of accounts. Assessee has been stated to be a GTA. Show cause notice says you are a GTA. Okay, sir. Assessee has other income. assessee has other income of 1 crore, department has issued show cause notice saying, please pay 18% tax on 1 crore. Now the assessee came running in the last minute saying that, sir, you have to draft the reply. Said, on other income, you have to pay 18% tax. Assessee has been paying 5% on forward charge in respect of GTA wherever applicable. Wherever not applicable is covered by reverse charge. He's not been discharging tax. In such a case, to give a reply to a show cause, to this show cause notice, what will you require? You will require to do a deep dive into the financial statements, find out what is this other income, find out invoices, challans, bills, vouchers, bank statement. See, everything we cannot do it like audit. This is group 2. Don't use that method in group 2. That is group 1. Leave it there. So in this case, client was advised not to file a reply. Filing a reply is very dangerous. No reply. Client did not file reply. Anyway, fees was collected in advance, so there's no problem. That is first. That is first. We go. First. See, when they're in that tensed frame of mind, when they come, collect fees. Then they'll calm down, they'll go away. So, ex parte order, demand confirmed, appeal filed. In appeal, the question raised was, without specifying whether it is goods or services, demanding 18% tax is arbitrary. Single ground. Filed. Because 18%, what is it? Not specified goods, services, kya, kisko pata? Because GST is not a supply of anything tax. GST is a supply of goods tax, a supply of service tax. So one ground appeal filed. During appeal, we're discussing with the authorities. So complete confusion in this show cause notice. Order also confused. Okay, what reply you have given? Reply also not given. How can you not give reply? Like this only. एग्जाम में फेल कैसे होते हैं? ऐसे ही मोबाइल में खेलते खेलते फेल हो जाते हैं. So what are you trying to say? Sir, anyway, demand is not sustainable. You can't confirm this demand. You have to set aside this demand. I agree with you. I also can't understand what is going on in this case. I think the demand has to be dropped. Now you tell me exactly what is this client doing? He said, I don't know, sir. Your client, you don't know what the client is doing? Sir, if it is not relevant for the case, I don't try to find out what all he is doing, sir. Can you bring the books of accounts? I will verify. Bills, vouchers, challans. I want to study what is this other income 1 crore rupees. Sir, you are not audit officer. 2(4) defines adjudicating authority as excluding appellate authority. You cannot do audit, sir. No, but I am fact-finding authority. Sir, you have to find fact from the file, not beyond the file. File has nothing in it. How can I find out? Exactly, sir. No. You think about it. And I'm saying it's all seriousness. Sir, I can't submit books of accounts. 1 month later, we got another intimation saying certain documents were discussed on so and so date to be submitted. It is to be submitted quickly. Otherwise, orders will be passed based on available records. A letter was filed in writing stating the following. During the course of proceedings, it was identified that the notice is vague and ambiguous, and we were requested to produce books of accounts to now commence a fresh verification as to what this other income in the financials are. In this regard, undersigned most respectfully declines to submit books of accounts at such a late stage of the proceedings. Appeal allowed. Friends, please be very careful. We need to know what is good for the case. Somehow we equate the morality of the client and say he's a good client, so I will fight this case. He's a crooked fellow. So our loyalty, we anyway discovered earlier that our clients are not loyal to us. Even before that, we discovered that we don't have to be loyal to the officer. Correct? Our loyalty should be to the law. Our loyalty should be to the law and to our craft. What is it that you can do with the knowledge that you have as a chartered accountant, understanding business, understanding tax law, understanding how the remedies in the law operate? Are we being loyal to the law and our craft, or are we trying to be loyal to somebody else or something else? Friends, taxpayers are very wise. They will know who to go to for what services. For the services that they are interested in, they don't need to come to us for those services. There are so many others who have expertise in those. The first method. We just need to focus on clients who require this service. My question is, are we ready? And my compliments to the association because of the effort being taken to get into group discussion on these issues so that we can identify how we can upskill our approach to as far looking at notices to identify what should be the way we need to consider the response. If you look at another instance where audits are concerned, how many times have we prepared some reports, reconciliations, calculations and submitted for audit? All the time. अभी तो आदत लग गया है रिकंसिलिएशन करते करते, यहां तक कि कभी कभार क्रेडिटर डेटर के साथ रिकंसिल करके भी दे देते हैं और वो मैच भी कर जाता है। अब बाद में सोच में लग जाते हैं कि मैच कैसे हुआ, क्योंकि कितने बार तो ट्रायल बैलेंस पहले मैच नहीं हुआ करता था और वो बैलेंस कहाँ था सर, बताइएगा मत, था कहीं है, पार्टनर ने बैलेंस शीट साइन भी कर दिया, बाद में पता चला कि वो शेयर कैपिटल में था, नहीं वहां नहीं रखते हैं। So therefore, please bear in mind, why are we taking departmental audit on subcontract basis? आदत हो गया है, अभी नए नए प्रैक्टिस जो शुरू किया है। So please bear in mind, our responsibility is to furnish information that is available. If it is not available, sorry. So therefore, please be very careful. There is no occasion for us to prepare any new reports. I'll give a small example of reports that are prepared by chartered accountants and given to department. Creditors aging analysis report. How many are prepared? Please raise your hand. Only one honest gentleman. Creditors aging analysis report for rule 180 day, rule 37 reversal. If without your assistance, how would they have arrived at rule 37? I have got a show cause notice. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute. I have got a show cause notice. Total creditors into 1% into 18%. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute. Total creditors into 1% into 18%. Total creditors into 18%. Total creditors includes creditors where we have not taken ITC. If department has decided to give a show cause notice, ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन का मजबूत नोटिस चाहिए या कम इंफॉर्मेशन का कमजोर नोटिस? अगर डिपार्टमेंट में ये मन बना लिया है कि नोटिस देना ही, कम इंफॉर्मेशन का कमजोर नोटिस चाहिए या ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन का मजबूत नोटिस? कब ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन का मजबूत नोटिस चाहिए? दिल के साफ हो सर, बहुत साफ हो सर दिल के, हैं प्रेसिडेंट मतलब ऐसे ही। आपके स्टैंडर्ड का तो मैं हूं नहीं, मोटे रकम का कमजोर नोटिस चाहिए मुझे जीतने के लिए, क्योंकि इफ यू प्रिपेयर पक्का रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट, ये लगते यार ऑल इंडिया रैंक होल्डर लगते हैं, बहुत मेहनती है। ही विल प्रिपेयर डिटेल स्टेटमेंट, क्रेडिटर्स वेयर क्रेडिट नॉट टेकन, क्रेडिटर्स वेयर क्रेडिट इज टेकन, क्रेडिटर्स फॉर प्री जीएसटी, क्रेडिटर्स वेयर पेमेंट मेड 180 days, creditors were payment made by account adjustment, balance creditors due to various reasons request you to kindly drop the demand in the interest of justice and my handsome face. मतलब सारे grounds, सारे grounds. So can you imagine how often we are helping the department complete the audit because first method. हर सिचुएशन में ये की हो रहा है, DRC3 या DRC1. So normally what happens is when clients call for audits, department says we'll do audit. Somebody called, जैसे मुझे तुमसे बात करना है, क्लास चल रहा है, 3-4 मिस्ड कॉल, मैंने टी ब्रेक में फोन कॉल बैक किया, क्या है, नोटिस आ गया, नोटिस आ गया, कौन सा सेक्शन में पता नहीं, लिफाफा खोला नहीं अभी तक। ठीक है रुको रुको मैं खोलता हूँ, तो खोले ADT1 नोटिस टू कमेंस ऑडिट। मतलब इतनी जल्दी फट जाती है कि मतलब नोटिस टू कमेंस ऑडिट और नोटिस टू रिकवर में फर्क ही नहीं मालूम है। So client gets a notice saying they want to commence audit. So the answer to the client is, we can do this. Let's say, take an example. So how much you charge for audit, department audit, sir? I'll guess 5 lakh rupees. Bharatji gives a quotation, 5 lakh rupees. We'll assist with audit. 3 months. We'll have 2 people sit and work on this. Prepare this. ऐसे बनाएंगे, कॉलम कम पड़ गए तो ऐसे बनाएंगे, ये भी कम पड़ गए तो वी लुकअप करके रिपोर्ट बना के दे देंगे आपको। हाँ वही 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 5 लाख रुपीस। ये सब करने के बाद क्या आप गारंटी दे सकते हो कि नोटिस नहीं आएगा? नहीं सर, आएगा, मजबूत नोटिस आएगा, लेकिन बहुत क्लैरिटी के साथ आएगा, क्योंकि वो BA को असिस्ट करने के लिए जो CA बैठा है। तो क्लाइंट पूछेगा कि एनी अदर ऑप्शन, ऑप्शन क्यों नहीं है? ये लॉन्ग फॉर्म हो गया है ना, शॉर्ट फॉर्म ऑडिट। शॉर्ट फॉर्म ऑडिट पूछेंगे कि क्या क्या चाहिए, GST 1, 2, 2A, 3B, 2A versus 3B, R1 versus 3B, 9, 9C balance sheet. All information requested in ADT1 are available on the portal. Kindly download on your own. नहीं बता सकते, illegal to say this. Tell me, gentleman next to you, next, the gentleman with green T-shirt. हाँ, illegal to say something like this. Is this answer legally valid or not? हाँ. So what happens? All information available on portal. 2A versus 3B, don't know how to do. क्या टैलेंट का होना जरूरी है? शॉर्ट फॉर्म ऑडिट, शॉर्ट फॉर्म ऑडिट। ऑफिसर क्या करेगा? गुस्सा करेगा। सामने वाला जब गुस्सा करता है तो so we prepared this, submitted this, and the client says, इसका फीस कितना? लाख रुपए। अभी बोलो लोगे? काम करने के 5, काम ना करने के लाख चाहिए। अभी नोटिस आ गया, what notice we will get for not without any information? What notice you'll get? There's a list here, no? I'll tell you. 2A not matching 3B. हमारा भी मैच नहीं हो रहा है। Then 16.4 कुछ एक्सपेंस नॉट रिक्वायर्ड फॉर बिजनेस। उनको लगता है ये घड़ी बनाने के लिए सोना क्यों चाहिए? नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, नॉट रिक्वायर्ड। 17.2 रिवर्सल, 42-43 में हमेशा कंफ्यूजन रहता है। 42-43 रिवर्सल। 17.5 ब्लॉक क्रेडिट, ई होटल मस्ट बी फूड ओनली। अरे कमरा है, नहीं कमरे में क्या खाना नहीं खाएगा, तो ई होटल का बिल सारे डिसर। 17.5 और क्या हुआ? 40, 42, 43, 44 रिवर्सल। उसके बाद क्या हुआ? देरी से टैक्स पे हुआ तो ब्याज, इंटरेस्ट late fee. All right. What else? Debit note पे ब्याज. Credit note पे tax adjustment disallow 15(3)(b). What else? 9(3) freight, security, commission, government services, tax. Then other income 18%. लालच नहीं करना चाहिए. 28 नहीं 18. 18 नहीं वो लालची. ठीक है. Foreign exchange gain, what is this? 18% tax. So we got notice like this. This notice is easy to win, not easy to win. चलो उसको भी टैक्स. ठीक है. Commission paid to director RCM in spite of 192. ठीक है. Friends, please bear in mind the way ADT1 is issued will give you an idea how much somebody understands your business. How much somebody understands your business can be identified by the way ADT1 is given. We get ADT1 in Karnataka where there are 44 items in the list. Service company है, please give job work details. लोग दे भी दे रहे. सर्विस कंपनी क्या जॉब वर्क दे देते दिल रखने के लिए. हाँ? So therefore, please bear in mind, question for you, why are we giving all these details, preparing all these details and getting notices? You understand? So department will conduct audit, they'll issue observation 1014. We discussed that also in another case study. 1014. We feel you have to pay tax on so many things. So they sent us a response. They sent us a response saying that following findings have been identified, you have to pay tax on those. So they want a response. 10 points are there, detailed discussions. So we gave a reply saying, we don't agree. What is the purpose of findings in 1014? To find out if you will pay or you will not pay. If you will pay, collect the payment. If you will not pay, collect your reply to see what needs to be done. Then 65(6), prepare report, ADT2, baat khatam. We don't agree. Officer gussa kar gaya. 10 points I have written, you're writing one sentence. Please give point-wise reply. Point-wise? Done. Point number 1, we do not agree. Point number 2, we do not agree. Point number 10, we do not agree. Now he is more angry. So he wants, sir, now abhi kya chahiye? Now point-wise you have given, but give reasons. See, if you give, now I will tell you the explanation you will get and tell me whether you believe it. Why you should give me reasons is I will understand your reasons. I will explain to additional commissioner and try to convince him. Do you believe this or not? The purpose of asking for reasons is to understand how to write show cause notice. If these are the grounds you are taking. So reasons have to be given. Point number 1, we do not agree because it is not payable. Point number 2, we do not agree because it is not payable. Point number 10, same reason. Officer called and he is laughing. He is laughing. अच्छा, तुमको भी पता चल गया. You understood? हाँ sir, पता तो चल गया. ठीक है. So now officer has decided that you are not going to assess his response. Assess his response. Did not agree. So now they have issued ADT2. कर्नाटक में ऐसे होता है कि ADT2 is issued और एक लास्ट पैरा होता है. Within 7 days you are supposed to give reply with detailed documentation if you have any objections. Otherwise, action will be taken as per law. तो फट जाती है. People get scared. Action as per law. Baapre, action as per law. So they came yesterday saying action as per law. Said no, tomorrow I'm not here. I'm going to Chennai. काम करो बस घूमते रहते हो. काम करो कभी ऑफिस में बैठ के. 4 days, 4 दिन निकल गए ढूंढते ढूंढते. Now we have found you and now you are going to Chennai. Please give reply. So I saw ADT6 gave a reply saying Dear sir, we saw a report under 65.6 report, concluding audit. Response in respect of the findings has already been submitted on so and so date. As per section 65.6, we received audit report. As per section 65.7, the act says that you have to now issue show cause notice under 73-74. Kindly proceed to take action as per law. करके चेन्नई आ गया मैं. देखो सामने वाला मानने के मूड में नहीं है, फिर भी मनाए जा रहे हो. हाँ, 10 साल हो गए, मानी नहीं, फिर 10 साल के तजुर्बे के बाद वापस से कोशिश जारी. हाँ, उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है. हाँ? Friends, please bear in mind, the purpose has to be understood. This is strategy. There's strategy there, there's no strategy here. एकदम नादान बन के घूम रहे हैं. एसोसिएशन में मेंबर है, 2 मोबाइल फोन है, लेकिन फिर भी दिल के साफ तो प्रेसिडेंट भी है. My request to you, please be very vigilant. When you see the way a question is being put, you will know where this is going. The way a question is put will tell you how much or how little someone knows about that topic. सही बात है ना? When you give a file to a client, student in the office and say you have to see what needs to be done, the first question is what to do. मतलब has sale of gold. Person does job work in jewelry. In his financial statements, there is sale of gold. Why there is no purchase of gold? Don't answer. Think about it. Job worker, in his P&L, there is sale of gold, but there is no purchase of gold. How is it? Is it possible? That's all. That's all is enough. That's all. Rice mill sells bran and husk. Bran GST is paid 5%, husk no GST is paid. Should they pay any GST on sale of bran and husk, or should they not pay GST on sale of bran and husk? If you know this milling operations, who does the paddy belong to? Farmer. Who does the rice belong to? So who does the bran and husk belong to? No. They are allowed to sell and retain the sale proceeds as additional job charges, because if you don't have title, you cannot pass title. Correct? So therefore, sale of bran and sale of husk is liable to GST at job working rate. Correct? Now what is job work? Food articles are liable to GST on job working at 5%. Now, is this rice mill a job worker or not? Job worker is defined in 268 as someone who does treatment or process on goods belonging to another registered person. Agriculturist is registered? Then this is not job work, it is only work, 18% tax. So friends, please be very careful. How much do we understand the business of our clients? We are very good in accounts. We know we are excellent in GST, but how much do we understand the business of our client? See, very often clients also don't know about their business. बैंगलोर में परिस्थिति ऐसा है कि वो क्योंकि इंजीनियर पढ़े हुए हैं, इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ने के बाद क्या करना चाहिए? बैंक में नौकरी. हाँ, आईआईटी में पढ़ने के बाद जाहिर है कोटक बैंक में काम करना पड़ेगा. बैंक में 2 साल काम करने के बाद क्या करना चाहिए? एमबीए करने के बाद चाय पॉइंट. You understand? जिंदगी ऐसे ही निकल रही है. So therefore, please bear in mind, client may not be in a position to give us facts. You know what is an aggregator? You know what is an aggregator? This word came up some 2013 or sometime. Aggregator one word came out. Basically, they खुद का कुछ नहीं करते, इधर का उधर, बीच में 2% खाते हैं. हाँ? नहीं मतलब there is another way to explain it also. लेकिन आप पकड़ लोगे. You know what is. खुद का कुछ नहीं करते. इनका टैक्सी, उनको एयरपोर्ट जाना है, 50 रुपए उससे ये खाते हैं. लेकिन ऐप के साथ. ठीक है. So this person said that they are an aggregator. So this finance manager, he left this company and joined one more company. Said, we want some help in GST. मैंने कहा, ठीक है, we'll discuss sometime. Tell me what business you are doing. He said, we are an aggregator of aggregators. बॉस रहने दे तो बस मुझे टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन जो तुम्हारे वेबसाइट में ना वो मुझे मेल कर दे, मैं पढ़ लूंगा. Clients are not able to differentiate between information and facts. वो अपने इंजीनियरिंग दिमाग लगा के they will explain something as facts. हालांकि वो फैक्ट ही नहीं है. Because टैक्स को उनके कॉम्पिटेंसी से कोई दिलचस्पी नहीं है. टैक्स ओनली वांट्स टू नो कि कमाते कैसे हो. हाउ डू यू अर्न मनी. कभी एक फ्लाइट में कोई जा रहा था, डॉक्टर, हार्ट सर्जन थे वो, बगल में कोई लड़का बैठा था, तो डॉक्टर सेड, हेलो आई एम डॉक्टर शेट्टी, हेलो आई एम आनंद. उसके बाद आगे कोई डिस्कशन ही नहीं चला. आफ्टर सम टाइम ही सेड, हेलो आई एम डॉक्टर शेट्टी, आई एम अ कार्डियक सर्जन. सेड ओके ओके आई एम आनंद. तो डॉक्टर से रहा नहीं गया, तो पूछे तुम क्या करते हो. मैं डॉक्टर, दिल का इलाज करता हूँ. तुम क्या करते हो. आई प्ले चेस. डॉक्टर को एकदम सटक गया. बोला खाने के लिए क्या करते हो. तो वो था विश्वनाथन आनंद. ठीक है. So therefore, please bear in mind, client focuses on his competency in his business. GST is interested in principal. खाने के लिए कहाँ से पैसे आते तुमको. अच्छा इधर का उधर बीच में 50. अच्छा कमीशन है, जाओ तुम. You understand? Clients are not in a position to give us facts. Clients can at best give us information. We have to distill that information and derive facts out of it that is relevant for GST. Clients don't know what to do. Clients will do what everyone else is doing. सभी तो 12 दे रहे हैं, मैं क्यों 18 दूं. कोई नहीं दे रहा है. That they will tell to all consultants. इंटरप्रिटेशन का उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. इंटरप्रिटेशन वी आर ओनली इंटर 16.4, 16.2C, 16.2AA, ये सब ये इस कमरे के अंदर. क्लाइंट को कोई लेना देना नहीं है. क्लाइंट इज इंटरेस्टेड इन इफ एवरीबडी इज पेइंग आई विल पे, इफ नोबडी इज पेइंग आई विल आल्सो नॉट पे. एवरीबडी इज बाइंग बिल्स तो अच्छा. So therefore, please bear in mind, we need to make certain decisions about how we advise, what we provide guidance, what service we provide, how we provide those services. And this requires deep understanding about various business. And I will only leave this thought with you. If you pick 3 industries, you don't have to take any internet economy, nothing. Jewelry business, do you really know well? क्या अनवाड़ी होके ये भी नहीं जानते हो. हाँ? Jewelry business, rice mill, trading, online trade, whatever business. If you pick 3 businesses and spend 4 months doing deep study about how that business works, in 5 years, you will be an expert in 15 sectors. Nobody will be able to sit and give you any new information about their business. You already know what's going on. You just need to know what the notice is. ये ठीक है आप मंडे को आ जाओ, अपील फाइल करें. अपील करना नहीं करें, जाओ. ये रहा बैंक अकाउंट का डिटेल, इसमें ट्रांसफर करना पड़ता है. You understand? So therefore, please be very vigilant. We just need to see how we can upskill ourselves, because GST has brought that opportunity. And I see a lot of young people in Chennai, madam included, to see how you can share this information, how to assimilate this information and share it with others and see how you can disseminate knowledge. My question is, are we doing this for ourselves? Do we understand this sufficiently to be able to tell clients before the client arrives, you know all the issues? Pick any industry. Can you identify 5 errors that will be taking place in that industry? You may have a client in that industry, you may not have a client in that industry, but in that industry, top five errors, are you able to list? That is your expertise. Our loyalty should be to the law and to that craft that we build. And I think that this discussion such as this is the place where all those things will come to the surface. And I think that this is something that committing a whole day to spending time to discussing these things is a good step in the right direction. And I'm very grateful to the association for giving me this opportunity and all of you for your participation. Thank you all.
Members will take a 10 minutes tea break and reassemble at 4:30.
Wow. Sir, such a live it was. Huh? After lunch, you know.
outside for a tea break may kindly assemble inside.
कलर के लैपटॉप
I request a person to please close the door.
नाइस
Yeah. Thank you. You start now?
on the screen. Sorry. This thing folds completely like a tablet. अయ్यो मैं गवनी के लिए
Hello. Check it up.
Check. No. Yeah, no problem. Yes. குடிச்சிட்டு இருக்க வேணாம்.
Yes. Hello.
A very good afternoon to everyone. So I'm sure this is going to be challenging for me, especially after the, extraordinary session that he had taken before the tea break. Sir, I think, he kept us all gripping. He never let us, feel that post-lunch session at all. And a very small personal note before we start with this session. 28th February 2024, I received a message in my WhatsApp. I'm in Chennai today. Can we meet Jatin? And that message gave me a shock, something that anybody would not have expected. I'm an extraordinary admirer of all his intellectual thoughts and his writings. And someone to receive a message all of a sudden from Jatin sir saying, can we meet? It took me some time to understand that it's a reality and not a dream. And he was there with me in our office. And I had really, got an extraordinary opportunity to spend 2 to 3 hours with him. And at the end, I realized that it was full of shock that was in my mind. That I was, to be precise in his words, I was reacting more than I was responding to take that opportunity. And that night I sent him a message, sir, I cannot still believe that you were with me within the 4 walls and I could spend that one-on-one time with you. And I told him that I'm sure some other time I will get an opportunity to once again have an interaction with you and I'll make use of that time in a little better way. And universe conspires. Vishal gave me a call and he asked me, can you take the one-on-one interview with Jatin sir? And that cannot be anything better for me as I was looking forward to one such opportunity. And probably it's because it has to happen this way in this banquet hall rather than in our office conference room for the benefit of all. And that's the reason why destiny has brought me here. So thank you so much, Vishal, and thanks to ACA for having me here. And thank you so much, Jatin sir, for having accepted me as an interviewer as well. So yeah, here I am to ask some of the questions representing all of us. So obviously, to begin with, the future of taxation. I know you would have answered this question plenty of time in many places. Still, how do you envisage indirect tax practice 10 to 20 years from now?
No clarity in GST for next 50 years. So there's enormous opportunity, So therefore, we have to gear up to handle the work that is on the way.
So what is the opportunity in complaints?
Compliance will greatly diminish. Compliance.
Chartered accountant. Mainly depends upon complaints, not on litigation. Regular practice. So that is decision, no. That affects profession.
Correct.
No, those who are in litigation, top level, okay, they engage with for a period of 3 years. What about small and medium, mainly beginners are depending on complaints, they actually filing and all. That is the diminishing.
Sir, that would diminish in any case because of the technology, technology that is in that race.
No, okay, let me answer. As far as litigation is going to be enormous,
That is whatever may be the area, whether it is income tax or company law, whatever the litigation always have a life. Nobody can.
about compliances, large enterprises will definitely use lot of technology to make their work reliable. MSME segment will also use technology, but they cannot, they may not be in a position to dispense with the need for a chartered accountant to help them use technology and take care of the reporting and compliances. The third area would be departmental interaction with taxpayers is going to increase significantly if litigation is going to increase. With system generated notices being used in GST and of course audit, inspection, etc. Department officers' work, which is clerical in nature to accept returns, verify returns, when those get automated, the focus is obviously going to turn to increasing the sample size for departmental audit and inspection. So therefore, young practitioners should focus on advisory and pre-litigation services. Most of the things we were talking about was pre-litigation, saying that if it precipitates into a show cause notice, what needs to be done can be discussed. But before it goes into a show cause, what reply not to give, what information to consider, what extent questions should be raised, I think that area is going to have enormous opportunity for youngsters. And chartered accountants in particular, with their knowledge of business and accounts, are much better placed to handle pre-litigation proceedings. So that I think young people can focus on. Lastly, young people are obviously more readily adapting to technology. So therefore, if young people look at collaborating with seniors in the profession, then they can make very valuable contribution, because imagine someone who is 50 years old has to understand how to file APL 5 online. Imagine there's someone who's 25 years old who understands these things more readily, is able to stand shoulder to shoulder and support in all these litigation work. So it can be very mutually rewarding to work together and focus on the technology side of GST.
So next question.
Can you put the folder?
Hello. For the next 40 to 45 minutes, let us hear they both, and after that, the floor will be open for Q&A session.
Sir, very specific questions. 3 key specific and not general elements. If each one here is going to be one among the top few indirect tax professionals 10 to 20 years from now, what should the professional do to remain at the best of their career?
I think this hasn't changed over the last several years. Reading is something that can never be replaced with technology. Reading should cover not only the subject but around the subject to understand how business, to equip ourselves about this. Second thing, definitely understanding different businesses. I know a lot of people who talk in the air. They don't know about the business of a particular, how the particular business segment works. So if we build domain expertise, I think that would be the second thing I would suggest. The third would be discontinuing this first approach to practice. I think no, it's a very real problem because doing what the client wants produces bread and butter for other practice. To move away from that requires a conscious decision. But if we start, I think in a few years, 2-3 years time, I think we would have made the shift. I think these 3 steps, I would think would be appropriate.
3 niche areas and industries of practice within GST for a sustainable long-term career. Very specific within GST. Let us say classification disputes or whatever, or a specific industry.
Contract law, because if you see 8 forms of supply are one or the other form of contract. If we have very deep understanding of contract law, then I think we'll be able to have mastery over supply. If we focus on Customs Tariff Act and understand classification, how it operates, then we can have mastery in classification. The third would be pre-audit support for client, pre-notice support for client, because that is a very enormous market. Because even if we say 75% of clients taxpayers don't want to litigate, so there's only 25% of taxpayers who will actually go in for litigation. But the 100% of those clients will require pre-notice support services. So that is an area I think chartered accountants can definitely focus on, to know how to handle which issue, how to respond, etc. If we refine our skills in that area, I think there's no turning back.
Right. Top 3 changes in the GST law that is desperately required. I know there are 100, but top 3 which you think is desperately required.
See, in the law.
In the law.
See, as far as changes in the law are concerned, there are many different transactions that are now in the present law not taxable. But the volume of those transactions are very huge. So when government notices that, it will try to somehow bring them within the tax net. An example is Rule 28(2), they inserted for corporate guarantees. Every time they come across a new area to tax, they try to not amend the law, but amend the peripheral region of the law, like the rules and the notifications or issue circulars, to say it should be taxed, it should not be taxed. For example, that solar power plant, that circular 70/30. These are all things that they're doing. So the change that needs to come is any change in the direction for GST should come in the act and not in these subordinate legislations. Then there's going to be clarity, whatever is there, only that much is going to be taxed today. When a new amendment comes, it will come in prospectively. So that sort of amendment. Second area is conditional tariffs should go away. For example, 5% without credit. I think that should go away. All tariffs should be optional where there are conditions. 5% without credit, 12% with credit. If that is made option, taxpayers should choose what they want to go with. Why should someone be forced to take 5%? Real estate is a good example. If they are given an option, then there will be better compliance. Third thing, definitely audit by CA must come back. Because without audit, you see how audits are being done. If a chartered accountant certifies the financials, whether more tax is paid or less tax is paid, it doesn't matter, because the sample size in some of the commissionerates I have seen is 1% audit selection. But if chartered accountants do audit and if they set a certain threshold, say 2 crores or something like that, I think 93% are below 5 crores. So we can say probably 80% of assessees will get audited. Imagine going for audit coverage from 1% to 80%. Revenue will increase. Revenue will definitely increase. So therefore, this audit should come back. Not because it will be more work for us. I'm sure many members may not even want to take up that work because of the burden of it. But from a
Burden
revenue,
of attestation.
but from a revenue point of view, definitely previous instance where it was removed, government had some information that the revenue collection is not very high after audit. When September due date was there, the next month when they saw statistics don't give a correct picture, because tax auditor will identify some liabilities to be paid. Taxpayer could have paid it through 3B instead of DRC 3. Imagine increasing audit sample size from 1% to 80%. Will revenue increase or not? Yes. And no need to bother about fees charged by chartered accountants to reintroduce audit, because that taxpayer is wise enough to decide whether how much fees to pay, whether to pay or not also, and how much to pay, etc. So I think that is only a question of optics. Taxpayers are wise, they know what to do. And if the work is there, then fees also would be commensurate. These three things would help.
So very specifically on the technical litigation related matters, we have a couple of questions. So is it sufficient to litigate only on technical or legal inconsistencies in the notice, or should one be always contesting on merits as well conservatively? To give you an example, if there is a wrong citation of the provision, he says ITC is time barred and he is quoting section 16.2 instead of quoting 16.4, or there is no provision at all which is being quoted. I think most of the notices contain only 2A, 3B discrepancy, does not even talk about section 16. So there are a lot of technical deficiencies which are there. Should we be responding only to that, or should we always be attaching the merits as well?
I think traveling in two boats is a wrong strategy, and we have been taught wrong. You pick which litigation strategy you want to pursue and pursue that diligently. In each case, you have to identify what is the right strategy, and if technical objections is the right strategy, then don't mess up the outcome by also adding merits and so on, because I think we'll give a handle to revenue to somehow save the demand, because we have exposed certain other areas. I'll give an example. A show cause notice was issued on 6th of January. Show cause notice itself was issued on 6th of January. One sentence reply, demand is time barred. Issue 16.4. Issue was 16.4. one sentence reply, notice is time barred, demand dropped in adjudication. So the strategy has to be, if we are not committed to the strategy, then we are basically in self-doubt. I think that I don't recommend a throw everything at the adjudicating authority strategy. I don't think is a good strategy.
What is the ideal approach while litigating in appellate forum? Stick to one strong stand. I think you have almost answered. Or should we make alternate stand as well? It was almost the same, but here it is more in the appellate forum. Should we actually have multiple stand, or we should just have only one ground?
Within the strategy, it is possible that there are two or more grounds to be taken. So therefore, the strategy in appeal should not be newly discovered after the order comes out. You must make it happen right from the show cause notice reply stage. That I think should be an approach to that.
Okay. And regarding the facts-based argument, how can one argue and be successful in framing the grounds without detailing, that is on the legal merits, without detailing on the facts and documents? To give a specific example, IGST credit availed instead of CGST, SGST. Now here, is it sufficient if I only put forth a legal argument that it is a revenue neutral transaction supported by whatever case decisions, or should I also prove my facts of the case to say that, see, I have availed in the wrong head instead of this head? So to what extent facts of the case is very important apart from directly taking the legal grounds?
If we take an example of transposing error, C and S claimed as I or vice versa, by explaining the information that this is a transposing error, we have proved revenues case because C and S is taken as I. So I is not admissible. C and S has anyway not been taken. Officer needs to only say the reply very clearly admits that IGST has been taken when no IGST was available to be taken. So therefore, demand may be confirmed. Order passed like this, carried an appeal. What is the appellate authority going to do? He only is going to examine if the adjudicating authority's order is bad in law. He will not find anything bad in law in the adjudicating authority. That there is some extra information that it was actually C and S taken as is, nobody has power to entertain matters beyond the scope of the dispute. So my sincere recommendation is, truth does not matter, facts do. Stick to the facts, plan your strategy around the facts. That I would suggest.
So how does it apply even in cases like 2A, 3B, sir? 2A, 3B differences is something that everybody is facing. Should we approach more on the legal side, or should we also be looking into the facts?
See, in 2A, 3B, let's say, we go into a verification exercise of why this is not matching. We contact those suppliers, get confirmation that they have in fact paid the tax, but not through 3B. Let us say they have paid through DRC 3 or some recovery action, DRC 13, etc. They have paid the tax. Now 183 circular cannot be given, certificate cannot be given. How else will we prove that 16(2)(c) has been satisfied? So I would suggest do 100% effort in investigating and fact finding, but choose 5% out of that to form the grounds in the reply or appeal. Exposing everything, I think, is counterintuitive. Identify in each case what needs to be done. And for example, 2A, 3B, 2A will contain block credits. When block credits are already present in 2A, demanding the difference is itself erroneous. Correct? So the gap should increase if you remove block credits. So if you look at it from that point of view, this entire exercise is riddled with fatality. Those who are interested, you should track these cases developing in 26As compared with ST3 returns. You see how those cases are developing. 26As should never have been compared as the starting point of this investigation is how cases are developing. How different is 2A versus 3B from that? But if we submit reconciliation, those decisions when they come out will not have any value here. So therefore, pick your strategy, build your grounds around that. Fact-based is always riddled. Just to emphasize that point, GSTR 1 filed for with a liability of 1 crore by the supplier. GSTR 3B filed for discharging 60 lakhs tax. I have purchased something where the ITC is 10 lakhs. Now my 10 lakhs is in that 60 or in the 40. How to prove? It's impossible to prove. And the Valapada comedy everybody. Tomorrow when you give 183 certificates, those certificates will come in for investigation saying whether this is genuine. Somebody was saying, you didn't irke. Note, stamp paper, adikira kalathilla, you didn't matter. So therefore, I would sense that unless we are very strong on facts, maybe group companies, suppliers with long-standing relationship, continuing relationship, then you could perhaps take a risk with Circular 183. Otherwise, when the law is itself on your side, why bother about anything else?
Regarding the same, the duty is concentrated on the recipient of the ITC, saying that get the certificate, supply certificate that he has paid the tax. Do the customer has a authority to ask the tax paid can be proved with 3B or any other challan? So can I have an authority to ask, sir, other than we can get the online information, say 3B filed or not. Other than that, can I ask my supplier, give me 3B, give me your tax payment, sir? Because the duty is casted, and can I have an authority to ask it? And under what authority?
See, you cannot ask for his 3B because it does not contain only your information, it contains several other things also. For this reason, they have said below 5 lakhs get a supplier certificate, above 5 lakhs get a CA certificate. So the one who is issuing the certificate will have authority to verify those documents. You will have authority only to collect the certificate.
But the officer is asking two. There are two, one is the supplier certificate. Second, we have, before claiming the ITC, we have to prove that tax is paid really by the supplier.
No, but certificate is for that reason, isn't it?
In the certificate itself, they give
Correct,
tax
correct.
is paid.
Correct.
That is what.
The institute has released a guidance on how this has to be done. So therefore, if you see that supplier, how he should certify, what are the things to be verified is specified in that guidance. You can take a look at it.
So multiple demands involving the same tax amount. So what can be the litigative approach? Something that we have discussed, I had an opportunity to discuss with you. Double jeopardy, to what extent the same tax amount, let us say, for example, it's an ineligible credit, at the same time barred credit. And ineligible credit, and again, there is a 2A, 3B difference. Credit is ineligible, refund has also been obtained. So squarely, it is the same amount which is involved, but that is being taxed or demanded in different colors.
See, if it is within the same notice, if this fact is explained, they will have to drop one of the two. But if it is in two separate notices, then the authority needs to be made aware that the same issue is already covered in another notice and bring this to the attention of both. What I have seen happen is, unless they are both of the same rank, the notice issued by a higher ranking officer is carried forward in adjudication and the other notice is withdrawn. But we have to ask that they withdraw one of the two.
So that operates in a parallel proceeding of the same subject matter. Here the subject matter is different, but the amount involved is the same.
Correct, but if that's the first part of the answer, where if on facts we are able to present it to them that it is a double demand for the same underlying transaction, they have to drop one of the two and then proceed further.
And similarly on this parallel proceeding that we discussed, again, what we are facing in reality is that, especially in the state, literally for every financial year, there are multiple assessments that is happening. Multiple show cause notices are being issued. Say for example, 2A, 3B difference itself will be there in 3 different notices for the same financial year.
Same officer?
Same officer, because the officer would have changed also. See, previously one officer issued one notice. He has just issued the notice and pending adjudication because the adjudication due date has not come. And later on another officer, he has also issued one notice. And the final notice comes in the form of IIT Hyderabad notice. IIT Hyderabad notice, which is just before the due date. So there are 3 different notices for the same subject matter. But the issue here is the quantum is altogether different in these 3 notices. One has taken the source data as the portal ITC comparison. The other one has taken source data as GSTR 9 table 8 comparison and another XYZ. So here the concern is the subject matter is actually the same, which is 2A 3B difference, but the officer is not inclined to accept it as a same subject matter because the quantum of amount involved at the comparison is completely different. So how to approach in these kind of matters?
So this is overlapping notices. You should carry this to the additional commissioner or joint commissioner of the division to bring this to their attention, because they will be answerable for 3 times revenue recovery when it is only once. They may choose the highest value as the notice to survive and the other 2 they may withdraw. But from even department's point of view, it is highly unlikely that they will adjudicate all 3. Highly unlikely. But this has to reach the decision maker, not the officer issuing this notice. If it goes to JC or additional commissioner, definitely 2 of the 3 will get withdrawn. Sorry?
Then go to JC.
Yeah, what?
If it is issued by additional.
Sir, उनका सवाल उनका है. वो कुछ.
Assistant Commissioner has issued one notice on the same ground. DCQ has issued one more notice. An order has also been passed. Now Assistant Commissioner is issuing on the same ground another notice. Don't know what to do. You said one has to be dropped, but order is already been passed.
So where the order has been passed, you have 2 options. Either file appeal in respect of the order passed and request that the second show cause notice be withdrawn. One option. Second, carry both to High Court saying that there is misapplication of authority. So you have options. One of the 2 notices that still remains at notice stage can be withdrawn. And if the demands are different, etc., they may hesitate to withdraw. If the demands are sizable, then you should consider High Court. Otherwise, in the normal course also, if the second notice also gets adjudicated, file appeal and then request that both appeals be tagged. It's called tagging of appeals. When the 2 are tagged, the appellate authority will have to decide one of them to be dropped and the other one to continue, even if they want a confirmed demand. High Court is one option, but not necessarily. Not necessarily.
First option can be.
Easily. If the pre-deposit is not a hurdle, then definitely departmental appeal can be pursued.
So the next one is on revenue neutrality. And especially in the cases like RCM not paid or credits of old cancelled registration has been availed in the new registration. The taxpayer's viewpoint is that end of the day, it's, there is no revenue leakage or it's a revenue neutral transaction. And especially in ISD scenarios or real estate cases where they have continue to discharge 18% with ITC instead of switching over to 5% without ITC. So these we have plenty of such cases where it's revenue neutral end of the day. So to what extent this can be a, valid grounds of argument?
Revenue neutrality came to GST and died. There is no concept of revenue neutrality we can use in GST.
Sir, when did it come?
No, the concept. The concept of revenue neutrality, when it came into GST, it died a natural death. There is no such thing called revenue neutrality. There is no such thing called seamless flow of credit. There is no such thing called destination-based consumption tax. There is no such thing called tax on value addition. There are 13 such concepts that are commonly understood but don't exist in GST. If we use revenue neutrality as an argument, we have admitted wrongdoing. we have admitted that RCM was not paid. So to take those 2-3 instances, RCM was not paid. You say anyway no loss to revenue. P.R. Chandrasekhar sir's judgment is there of Bombay Sestat. If everybody says there is no loss to revenue, then we will change Senvat scheme from multi-point tax to last point tax system. Main contractor will pay tax, will exempt subcontractor. Is it possible? You're transforming the nature of GST itself. GST is a multi-point tax system with credit. You cannot disturb that. Secondly, to go into the economics of a tax provision is barred. Ultimately, what is happening? Same revenue you are getting. That logic does not work. It is logical but not legal. If you take a case where a real estate project, they did not file the declaration as ongoing project, but lethargically continued to collect 12, pay 12, take ITC. Where they collected 12, they have to pay 12. ITC, they will lose. What is the loss to revenue? That question cannot be raised. I would, P.R. Chandrasekhar's judgment, we should look at some of the decisions around the time of introduction of GST on revenue neutrality got rejected in service tax itself. So therefore, I would not suggest going in for that argument. But that argument itself admits wrongdoing. That is a bigger danger.
Whether interest demanded on erroneous refund is justified for eligible credits.
It is lawful. Whether justified or not, I don't care. Tax itself is not justified. It is lawful.
Irrespective of the, there is no element of compensation.
I'll give you an example. There is a society of tax-paying citizens who are looking at the government to see if it will use some innovative logic to let go of one taxpayer who has not paid interest. Justice to society demands that the tax officer not spare this taxpayer. To do justice to society who have been diligently paying tax, diligently taking credit, not taking excess credits, etc., to do justice to them, he should go after this taxpayer with a heavy hand. If you look at it from the point of view taxpayer and the government, no revenue loss, ultimately not compensated. Look at all these other people who are silently paying. Injustice to them. Because this fellow came out with a clever logic.
If this logic has to apply, sorry to interrupt you, sir. If this logic has to apply, then how do they bring in this amnesty scheme for waiver of GSTR 3B delayed filing? You make 1 or 2 months or 1 year of delay, you have to pay the late fees. You make some 3 or 4 years of delay, you get into the amnesty scheme and then you pay this 1,000 rupees and get away.
That is policy perversion of a government. That is not law. Policy perversion is a very perverted policy of the government because they have admitted they are incompetent to recover this money. They have publicly said, I will do injustice to the society by giving relief to these handful of fellows who we can't go and recover. But the law, the mandate in law is that jus in rem. Justice to society demands action against individuals.
Thank you, sir. While there is no direct prohibition in the GST law for utilizing credits of one business vertical towards another business vertical or a standalone non-economic transaction, can there be an alternate view to it? And what is the way to litigate? So basically, I have, just to explain it more, basically I have got an economic activity, which is an ongoing business, and I also have a one-time non-economic activity through which I have, let us say there is another income. So the utilization of the credits out of my regular business, can it be utilized towards the one-time generation of income? That is the other income.
See, the smallest divisible unit in GST is GST number. Below the GST number, we don't want to know what they are doing. If ITC is eligible, they can avail it. If liability exists, they can settle it. That's all. Whether software business is got credit, furniture business is utilizing credit, all that is not relevant because the line of business or business vertical is not the smallest divisible unit. You go up to GST number and you don't go further than that. So then there is cross utilization possible within the same GST number.
To what extent you foresee litigation in this?
Hardly
Especially
any.
on one
Hardly any.
hugely, wherever the amount involved is also huge and there is a huge accumulation of credit as well. So the possibility of this getting into the litigation umbrella is heavy.
The possibility of litigation is only when people try to do mischievous credit shifting. I'm accumulating too much credit here, I will move it there. All this innovation when they do, that is when litigation. But this concept in Central Excel also is very old. It's called one-to-one correlation. I get credit from one product, I have liability in another product. Can I use the credit? That has been established, well settled, that there is no such one-to-one correlation required. Today also, if you see, once credit flows into electronic credit ledger, the source identity is lost. So therefore, when you have an output tax liability, unless the law says that output should be paid in cash, there is nothing that will come in the way of utilizing the balance in credit ledger. Circular 178 para 6 very clearly says, other than interest penalty late fee RCM, you can use credit to pay any output tax. So therefore, I don't see any litigation, serious litigation coming out of this. Some officers, maybe some state officers possibly, who don't know this. Let's say there's a software business in Chennai, furniture business in Madurai. He may say, how can Madurai pay output tax through credit of Chennai, etc.? Those kind of confusions may come, but nothing very serious. It will not make headlines. How will that affect? No, within same GST number.
No, there is no transfer involved in this. It's just a
Same
utilization.
GST number.
Say, for example, you have two business vertical and one business vertical, there is an inverted duty structure and there is another business vertical, let us say it is only 5% without ITC. Yes, GST on the rent. So you will be collecting, but you will be effectively, you can still utilize it towards your input tax credit, which is accumulated out of your business as well. Yes, yes. So this could pose difficulty in cases like non-competent agreement, those kind of one-off transactions where the amount involved is huge also.
See, as long as credit balance is not in dispute, output liability can be squared off with it. So therefore, recurring, non-recurring, etc., state cannot come in and introduce a further subdivision which is below GST level. Stop at GST level.
So it's one, sir. Where any appellate forum concludes, this is a very important question which I really want to ask you. Where any appellate forum concludes that section 64 is not sustainable, section 74 is not sustainable, 75(2) is operational. It provides that the proper officer shall determine tax demand as if notice were issued under section 73. Now the specific question is, what is the fate of such invoices or orders under section 74 after the expiry of time limit under section 73? Is it sustainable under 73?
What is the outcome for invoices? Huh?
No, sir. Sir, the notice has been issued under section 74. The time when the notice has been issued and the time when the order has been issued, both these are after the time limit for the same financial year under section 73. Now, once the tribunal concludes that section 74 is not sustainable for this case because there is no intention, then 75(2) is operational. Now, what is the fate of these notices?
Entire demand will fall. If you see circular 185, very clearly it says a 74 notice issued within 73 time limit will only result in saving of the demand. But if it is issued beyond 73 time limit and 75(2) relief is allowed, then the entire demand will fall. So circular 185 is very clear as to the various scenarios, how to compute the demand.
Sir, especially this question is in the light of recent cross-empowerment related Madras High Court decision. So wherein, they have mentioned that whatever, considering that all the tax demand that is there behind all these notices, the appropriate officer is now empowered to initiate the proceeding. So do you anticipate such kind of matters to be enforced? See, because we are seeing a lot of things that's coming up newly, even from the court, and again, 73, 74 time limit is getting extended.
Understood. See, I don't think we should, we never hoped to get relief on the ground that notification itself has not been issued. Correct. The court, while examining the writ petition, went and made some statement that since the notification has not been issued, therefore, all these proceedings are doubtful. Now we have to see what is the remedy for this. The remedy for this would be, if there is no notification, in fact, there is no notification, they have to issue that notification. Is there any bar in chapter 2, that is 3, 4, 5, 6, for issuing this notification retrospectively? No. So therefore, I think wherever actions have been taken will be saved. Wherever actions are yet to be taken, when the notification is issued, will continue. Historically, there are lot of instances where a person who has presided over the proceeding was found not to be competent as per law. Later, it was held that any defect in his order will be saved, and only prospectively there will be a disqualification. So therefore, I think these should not be something that we can expect any great benefit out of. Just for academic interest, see what happened after Canon India's judgment. They went in and made all retrospective changes to the notifications to give powers to those who Supreme Court said did not have power. So therefore, even I don't think there is an administrative slip, but even if there is an administrative slip, I think it will get saved. About this, another point to mention is cross empowerment is sort of confused meaning it has got after this Madras High Court judgment. Assessee registered with state 61, 65 can be done only by state. Assessee registered with center 61, 65 can be done only by center. Only place where both center and state can act is 67, where they are acting on prior intelligence relating to evasion of tax. 67 here, 65 there can continue in parallel and vice versa. So where the two provisions will come and join and make two officers act is 67, and 62B very clearly says the person who passes this order will have occupied that position. Therefore, no one else until he completes his proceedings should enter there. That's part of the safeguard available in laws. I don't think there's any concern, should be any concern.
So as an inference, can we say that any show cause notice that is going to be received under section 74 for the first 3 years, for which already the time limit has expired in 73, can a comfortable argument be taken only to prove that there is no intention to evade tax beyond without getting into the middle?
Absolutely. 75(2) relief is an outcome of Padmini Products decision. So make 75(2) a serious first ground, and then see if you are confident that you can disprove. I'll give an example where this can be done. Somebody has taken safari credits. You know what is safari credits?
Immovable property.
Somebody has taken safari credits in 1718. He has not got show cause notice. Now department issues notice under 74. He need not go into justification of admissible, not admissible. There is a decision of a high court in my favor. Even if it gets overturned, it is subject to limitation. So 75(2) will be the sole ground for appeal. So possible.
No need to get into the merits.
No need to get into it, no malefides here, because it is a bona fide view taken based on a High Court decision.
So-
No, sir, see, admission of SLP unless stay is granted. Sir, but 75(2) relief is possible even if Supreme Court says High Court was wrong. Even if they say it was wrong, there's no case under 74 for safari credits.
So the next question, what is the validity of the notice issued without application of MIC on the responses made to the intimation? So there is a response to the intimation that has not even been considered and a notice has been issued. Now, whether the entire proceedings can be held invalid, I mean, should I only question the proceedings, that is a show cause notice? Or should I be repeating all my answers which I have already given, or do we really need to answer on the merits?
Now, the proceedings which you have responded to, which has not been considered, is it 61 or DRC 1A?
Either way, or ASMT 10, whatever it is.
So
So
61.
basically, there is a pre-consultation, pre-notice, there is a consultation.
So ASMT 10, you gave a reply in ASMT 11. They ignored ASMT 11 and gave show cause notice. There is nothing wrong in a show cause notice like this. Now you have to decide whether you want to reintroduce that material or you don't want to introduce that material and you want to develop a fresh strategy for the show cause notice. Nothing wrong at all if the show cause notice did not, because mind you, it is your opinion that I have not considered your reply. In my opinion, that reply itself is useless, that I don't want to give it any credibility by discussing it in the show cause notice. If that is my view.
Sir, in those lines, do you expect GST related assessments to become little matured in terms of having a proper pre-consultation before issuing the notice, so that the notice actually takes the color of a proposed demand, similar to how it was operational and how it's operational in income tax?
I don't know income tax.
And
But if
not
you
to make a direct comparison, sir.
So what I'm saying is, the way this issue is, notices are presently being issued, there is a lot of refinement that is certainly possible. But when the refinement comes, then certainly ASMT 10 matters will get resolved at that stage. It may not go into show cause notice stage, etc. But today officers also have a short limitation period. They have to dispose of many matters. So therefore, they may have some explanation to say, I could not deal with all of these things. So when in doubt, issue notice. And then the matter is alive, we'll have to deal with this in due course. Over a period of time, when systems become more reliable, these data differences diminish and substantive issues are being agitated, then I suppose this will happen. But till then, there's no infirmity in a show cause notice like this.
Sir, your insights into payment under protest. We did have this discussion in the particular group,
There is
but
no
for the
such-
benefit of all.
There's no such thing called payment under protest in GST. You protest all you want. If you pay through DRC 3, within 2 years, if you don't apply for refund, money is gone for nation building. If you want that money back, pay, file refund application, keep the matter alive till the main issue gets resolved, and then you will be entitled to refund. Don't
Rule
take
like-
this chance. Whether a court will really consider that this payment was not a tax, therefore they will say it is free from limitation, etc. The law must develop. So today, we should not implement something assuming that the law will develop the way we expect it to develop. I would sense that file refund application. See, this is a very rigid system-based rule. Play by that. File RFD1, get RFD2, keep the matter alive. You don't have any concerns. Imagine the confidence we place in under protest payment, the way the law will develop there, and then discover that one court says, no, sorry, nothing doing. You see what happened in northern operating systems. Who expected that decision to come out that way? So therefore,
Payment under protest can be made. And
payment
it
under
is conservative to apply for refund as well, so that the time limitation is not being lost. The rule 9610, to what extent it is valid in comparison with section 54?
Law is valid, no problem with the law. Problem is with the policy behind such a law. Historically, there was a way in which capital goods credit could be taken back. They did not find a formula to see how capital goods credit can also be allowed under 89(4). So they created this provision in 96, and then they discovered that, oh, capital goods credit is also going away as refund. So then they brought in this system. But if you see 86(4)(b), government seems to be very adamant to go with this new policy thinking, saying capital goods credit can never be given back. Do we have a parallel like this anywhere else in GST? Yes. Works contractors don't get inverted tax refund. Why did we not object? Inverted tax refund, inverted tax refund. What is the difference between works contractors and others? So therefore, policy, non-standard policy thinking seems to be plenty in GST. Unless government has a change of heart and withdraws all notices issued in the past, I think 9610 can become a monster in GST, and capital goods credit will be lost forever.
Is this violation for particular year?
Sir, sorry to interrupt. We will be concluding this in another 10 minutes. After that, the floor will be open for yes. Okay, it's on the same question.
Yeah.
There's no clarity, no clarity. Department is saying
Particular year or once violation is done, forever he is not eligible.
there are a variety of writ petitions filed. In each case, some cases for that month it is disallowed, some cases for the whole year, some cases for the entire assets, forever it is removed. So therefore, these are
Whole life he is not eligible.
correct, sir.
It will be bad.
No, but then this is parliament level. Below parliament, if you see, its policy is all right. No, they have some thinking. They have some thinking.
Violation is happened in a particular month, particular year. Okay, to the extent of.
Sir, no, you have a certain reasoning. Government also has a reasoning why they don't want to allow this. So then now we are discussing something that is beyond the act and the rules. It says this is what it is.
So I have last 5 minutes. I want to take some of the non-technical questions in this.
Yeah.
And first one is going to be my most favorite question, personally. Your command over unique and precise vocabulary is widely admired, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
And sets a benchmark for excellence in writing and advocacy in taxation. Your one invaluable piece of advice for young professionals on how to build and enhance the vocabulary in writing and advocate as effectively as Jatin, or at least as close as Jatin.
Read judgments. We only read head notes. Ultimately, क्या बोलने जा रहा है ये? That is what we should not do. अच्छा, allowed है? For हाँ, चलो ठीक है. मतलब बाकी सब तो बहुत माहौल बना रहे हैं, but ultimately क्या है? 16(4) गया. Don't do that. With a student-like attitude, sit with a judgment. For example, there are some very good judgments that will teach us about how to object to notices. Spend 1 week studying a judgment. When you read it to understand a subject, you will also read how that judge is explained. There are some very wonderful judges who have written well. So therefore, that is a good place. That's a place that I found a lot of value. There are some very good judges whose writings are very useful to understand. So I think that's I don't want to recommend. Even there is another book which you should just read, judgments. We'll anyway need to read it to understand this subject, and this will also be an incidental benefit that we'll get.
Technology in taxation. The top 3 functionalities that every tax professional should be looking for while deciding on the software and tools for a long-term practice. So what are the key functionalities that we have to look for? See, especially because, as you rightly said, young professionals are good at taxation or good at tools, the technology. But the point here is always the tools fails to understand the tax law complications or the, requirements of a litigator and all those stuff. So looking at it from a long-term tax professional practice perspective, what are the 3 top functionalities that we should be looking at in terms of the tools?
I'm not very good with all these tools. So from my perspective, what few things that I have seen is a tool must be able to make your work easier. It must assist you and not make you learn too many new tricks, and because you can't teach me new tricks. So in that sense, the learning curve should be very less. First thing. Second thing is it should get you information. It should not just open doors and let you go and look for information. It should get you, for example, there's some software that is integrated with the portal, which will log in every day and see if there are notices against this GST number and bring it to your attention. Something like that.
So there are a lot of
Okay. Something is there. Bisleri water. What you're giving me? Bisleri. So use some software that does the work for you. Third thing is
Communication problem. You said no communication. Immediately it is coming. Whether it is communicated or not.
the third thing is anything that is very complicated. I've seen some places the grounds of appeal is 200 pages long. 200 pages grounds of appeal. Many
screenshots.
no, many things. No, in the appeal drafted, it's 200 pages. We have to find ways to say what we want to say in the grounds without having to make it so personalized. Then we will be able to scale it up, respond faster, delegate it, get younger people to follow it, etc. Anything that reduces intervention of few people, we should go for it so that more number of people can get involved in those things. Something that we share knowledge, samples, formats, templates, etc. That will possibly help.
Coming to knowledge updation, what exactly is Jatin's way of doing the following? Consistent structured learning, resources recommended, and practical and sustainable ways to maintain knowledge database for retrieval. We want to understand what exactly that you do. So we all come to this session, we attend. And then we have, n number of ways of learning and development that's happening widely. But what is the right way?
I don't think there's anything that I'm doing anything special. I'm sure everyone is doing this. All of us have a list of what I need to become more aware. It could be a notification. It could be various judgments on a particular topic. Now, 168A, there are some judgments. If that's an area that I have got in my list, that I need to read all of those things and to better understand what's going on. So therefore, we have a to-read list that we should constantly maintain. We have a to-read list, accumulate reading material, and go and sit and do that reading. So that is one way of one thing that will help us stay updated. Some council meeting is coming up, so there's going to be some announcements, press release, notification, some circular, some implication, because circular will not only clarify what should be done going forward, it also will say what was the right way of understanding the past. When they make a change, that means, acha, abhi tak aise tha, arre, pata hi nahi tha. So those things will happen. So to read list, if we maintain, I think it will be very good. And first principles, what they call the basic foundational principles, we should include within this to read list. Sale. What is the definition of sale? In 1952, Canon Dunkerley was State of Madras. Madras High Court said that sale should not be given a common sense meaning, but the meaning of the word sale in Sale of Goods Act 1930 only must be given. So even today, we have to understand Sale of Goods Act 1930. The word sale definition there, and now then barter, transfer, exchange, license, rental, lease, disposal. So for 8 types of contracts, we have to go to different source legislations to find out what was the court decisions, interpretation, meaning under those laws, and that will actually directly be applicable here also. So a larger to read list number 2 on first principles. That is something here. The next thing is to write what we have understood, not for anyone else's reading, for our own reading, because when we write it, we will be able to see where we are going wrong. Conceptually, write it, leave it there for some time, come back 1 week later, say, this is wrong, this is not the way to, either it will be, we'll be able to identify, this is not the right way to explain it, or this is not at all right to begin with, this should not have been. So it will, that's how we will all suppose, I would say these 3 things.
So your advice to first generation independent tax practitioners, because the practicalities, the trick of the trade is often not very easy for the first generation practitioners to get, especially for familiarizing with the procedural aspects and to get access to the industry level tax issues and compliances or complications, to gain the self-confidence to solve the tax problems. So all these lines, how a first generation independent tax practitioner can be.
Learn from a senior. Find somebody and just learn. If someone is willing to teach, learn from a senior, somebody. It's not possible for you to invent it out of your own understanding, because then if you do it on your own, it will take 10 years. No, it will take 10 years. It will take 10 years of making mistakes and finally discover what is the right way of doing it. And you will have given 10 productive years to committing mistakes. Some of the writing material that I've shared, there's some things I've learned. It took me 20 years to learn something that I could have learned from someone in 6 months. Because in our profession, possibly in the past, may not be now, in the past, we don't share. If I share, then he will come to know, then what will happen to my knowledge? Somehow that, what was the reason for it, I don't know, but empirically, no sharing. No sharing. But I think now it's changing. A lot of people with 10, 15 years post-qualification are happy to share. Find someone and learn from him. So as an outcome of that, starting what is called a greenfield practice may not be necessary. Greenfield practices, I want to, as soon as I pass, I will go and set up my own office somewhere, struggle. There's no need, because when you start a practice 10 years, you will do 90% administrative work. What color name board to make? One color you painted, now institute says 3 colors you have to use. If you don't, it's problem. Stationery, size, letterhead, website, so much of it, because a partner in the office is also the peon in the office. All work that nobody wants to do, partner only has to do. So my sense is work with someone and collaborate. Today, young people understand the value of collaboration, and now nobody cares about the name on the wall. You see nowadays companies' names only don't make any sense, isn't it? So therefore, if that part we are able to overcome and we are focusing on doing good work and making meaningful contribution, it won't hurt to collaborate and grow. And I'm sure there are a lot of seniors in the profession who will be happy to work with young people as long as they don't ask for free money. Contribution-based compensation. If I contribute this much, I want this much. Why will anyone say no? I am CS, so I need minimum 10 lakhs. Why? I don't. Everybody is getting. If I contribute, then I don't mind taking.
Yes.
And if you contribute, why will anyone hesitate to pay? So I would think that.
So my last question, because they have been already hinting me on the time that's running. My last question is a very important and a sensitive question for all young professionals in terms of how do we handle 3 things. One is harassment by officers.
Office.
It does happen. Okay, I have to put it this way, harassment to get sandwiched between the officer's expectations and the client's expectation, how to successfully come out of it. Second important thing is how to handle the failures. You know, it's no, it's not that always we face success in litigations. So how to handle the failures is another thing which I really want to understand for, especially for the people who are at the beginning of the practice.
Don't try to learn all these things on your own. Learn from a senior. Just work with someone, collaborate. You will see shamelessly he will lose a case and send bill to client. That is confidence. That is confidence. And he's so sure the next day that client will come back with another case. Learn from a senior. It will work. You think that how can I ask client for fees? We lost the case. How can I send invoice? When you lose the case, immediately send invoice.
And when you know you are about to lose case, then it's even more important to sit.
No, but these are things people have cracked. Just watch and learn. Watch and learn. Work with someone, you will definitely learn these things. And this officers and clients causing anxiety about how they want a case to be handled, etc. You are harassed as much as you allow someone to harass you, whether it's an officer or the client.
Perfect. Sir, rapid question, 10 seconds. 5 questions, 10 seconds. Yes. Advisor or litigator? Jatin's preference.
Litigate.
All these are Jatin's preference. Speaking or writing?
Speaking.
Questioning or answering?
Question.
CA or advocate?
CA.
Chennai or Bangalore?
Bangalore.
This is unfair, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Let's see.
Members, please be seated. That's okay. Thank you, Sharda Madam, for the wonderful interactive session. Thank you, Jatin sir, for your great answers and insights for the specific questions which we had. We will take up first, the floor is open for Q&A, but first we'll take 2 questions virtually. There are a virtual member who wants to raise the query.
Hello. 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 Hello.
You're audible. You can ask the question.
Okay, sir, Pranam ji.
Pranam.
Sir, Rajiv Sharma, sir, may the department still confiscate the goods which are on the way? Firstly, they issue notice under 129 MOB 12, then they shift to 130. After amendment to section 129, how they are issuing MOB 10 even?
Because of para 2L of circular 41, it uses the word directly shift to 130. They have not paid attention to the fact that 130 also was amended where they removed notwithstanding anything contained in the act and replaced it with where. So therefore, they should issue 7 and 9 before going into 10. Because of the word directly go into 130, they are relying on that circular.
And sir, that circular holds good after this amendment because it was in the light of previous law.
No, I'm not saying it is correct. I'm saying this is why they are doing it.
Okay, but if the matter goes up in the courts, then the circular will not be binding. It is binding only upon the officers only.
True. No, the circular itself is not against the law. The circular has to be interpreted in harmony with the law. If 7 and 9 are not there, 10 has no legs to stand on. So therefore, confiscation will be bad in law.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There is one other question. May I ask? Sir, this Honorable High Courts have upheld this notification 56 by 2023 on extension of time limit under 168A.
Right.
Do you agree with this decision of the Honorable High Court? Sir?
I agree with it.
Thank you. Sir. Thank you.
See, if force measure dates are not same for everybody, uniformity uniformity is not the right test of equality. So therefore, government can have a longer force measure duration, taxpayer can have a shorter force measure duration.
Any other questions from virtual team? Yeah, now what, yeah, the floor is open. Sir, amazing. I think so. That's the only word for your entire session today. My only point is when a company moves its registered office from another one state to another state, and the company gets into a merger, post that merger, whether the GST credit can also move from one state to another state?
State is the smallest registrable unit in the country. Under Companies Act, the registered office can move wherever they want to move it. But if the transferor is in one state and the transferee is in another state, the transferee will have to take the transfer as a going concern in the transferor state. Credit cannot move.
Hi, sir. Very great session. Don't need any comedians to stand-up comedians. You're the best, at least for tax professionals. So my query is, I have an input tax at 12% and I sell the same thing as my output tax at 12%, but I also claim input at 18% for another good. So I'm applying for inverted tax duty structure refund. So when I take the net ITC, can I take both 12 and 18 in the computation?
Yeah, you have to take 12 and 18 because after all, 89.5 formula after the 3 amendments finally says take the total accumulated ITC minus the output tax paid.
Correct.
So then 18 plus 12 minus 12. So you will get only 6 out of the 18. So there is no problem in claiming credit.
Thank you, sir.
Even so, it doesn't matter. See, what happened is in fertilizer industry, they have accumulated a lot of credit. Under 18.5, they are eligible for inverted refund. Gunny bags are at 18%, fertilizer at 5%. Finished product packed in gunny bags and sold is sold at 5%. So there is a 13% rate inversion. But the gunny bag value of selling price is 1%. Very nominal weighted average cost. So therefore, the accumulation on account of this gunny bag should actually be 0 because of value addition. But fertilizer companies have accumulated credit because of subsidy on fertilizer. Correct. See, but for 18.5, output can be goods or service. Input has to be only goods. So in your 18.5 formula itself, you exclude services to calculate accumulation. Correct. So therefore, you will only take the goods on the inward side to calculate inversion. The rest of the accumulation you have to exclude. On subsidy, if there is an accumulation, then it is not a rate inversion, but a value inversion, so no refund.
Sir, recently that 16.2C decision has come from Kerala High Court. The other end should have paid the tax to make me to take the ITC eligibility. This is all fine. They have discussed about the government settlement, all those things. But technically, there is no Form 2 or all those things are there. How I will ensure that he has paid? Circumventing all those things are there. But how can I do something which is not possible for me to do?
Okay. So 2 and 3 arguments should now not be brought into this discussion because 2 and 3 have been omitted from the statute. So there was never any proposal to have 2 and 3. That is the position once the provisions are omitted. Secondly, the buyer can ensure that the correct quantity is delivered, correct quality is delivered, correct rate is charged, correct timelines of delivery is maintained. Seller can ensure that correct location, everything is delivered, invoice is issued according to purchase order. Everybody can do everything, but nobody can monitor if tax got paid. To say something like this would be nothing short of stunning. You may not have a methodology within GST law to do it. But the law says in 16(2)(c), if you want credit, you do it, boss. How you do it? I am suggesting 2A, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, but you are not happy with it. Sorry, I will delete all this. You find out and come back. 16(2)(c) is more substantive than 2B, 2 and 2B. If you want, see, 16(2)(c) is a precondition. If you claim the lottery prize, you will get it. Even though you have won the lottery, if you don't go and claim it within 10 days, you will not get the money. Now, what are you going to do? Should you take any affirmative action to go and claim or not? You should. Now, we cannot throw our hands up in the air and express difficulty to verify because look at the balance of convenience. You have 50 suppliers. Government has 13 crore suppliers. Balance of convenience. Monitor it is what the law says. If you can't monitor, don't take credit. Credit is now also, whether it's a vested right, etc. It is a right that is vested after vesting conditions are fulfilled. If vesting conditions are not fulfilled, vesting conditions operate as divesting conditions. So if you don't ensure, you will lose it. There's a longer explanation under Limitation Act, but I think we can't rely on GST 2 and 3 not. Which is like something like blaming the government for my difficulty to rein in my suppliers. This is a multi-point tax system. Society will be wronged if one taxpayer is allowed to claim this credit even though his supplier ran away.
In that case, there's a contract between the buyer and supplier. You should pay the GST, then only I am eligible for the credit. That is this one. So the government is an indirect party to the contract.
Not necessary. We don't have to say that. What Finance Minister said in that discussion was only in jest. So, but I'm saying government is not a party to the contract. So, the contract cannot be drafted contrary to contemporary law. The law came before you entered into contract. You should have written the contract in a way that you will be able to comply with applicable law.
So the law is directing my business.
Always. Contract Act 1872 is the framework for entering into contract. And now GST and so many other laws, pollution control, import, export, Legal Metrology Act, package commodity rules, law only is regulating. We have to do business within, in accordance with the law.
Sir, this is in regard to logistics industry, sir. So regarding a situation, particular situation where my customer is outside India. The pickup is from Bangalore to Chennai airport and exported via air to, say, China or rather USA. Now, the contract is typically negotiated at every level of rate, wherein every level of rate is quoted separately. So there is a concept of handling fee, including customs clearance in India. And there is an air freight export from Chennai port to USA. That is an that is a zero rated supply. That is fine, sir. The question is on the handling charges charged here in India to a recipient who is outside India. Supplier is in India.
If I say this handling charges is artificially bundled in your contract, which you should not have done as a logistics provider, will you agree to pay tax as a mixed supply? You understand? You have artificially bundled custom clearing work within international freight, and you're trying to claim this as zero rated.
So my counter to that was going to be, now that you've asked this question, my counter is invalidated, but my counter to that was going to be regarding the bringing of POS. Ultimately, we are going to talk about POS. If it is outside India, it is export. If it is in India, whether the POS will be based out of 13(3)(a) and how to construe in respect of. I understand under service tax, there is this education guide which is saying cargo handling is supposed to be service provided in India and performance based service. But if we take the intention of the council to remove 13(9), which was destination based, the intention, it is written over that once we remove this provision, we intend to take it to 13(2). So how far can a logistics client actually take a support legally for that?
Can we then say these are independent supplies and each one has to be taxed on its own merit?
Right, sir.
So then now what happens is freight is taken care. Whatever tax treatment is given to freight will not contaminate the tax treatment to be given for customs clearings. Now custom clearing work
will follow. Is happening. Is there any other, with a hope I'm coming?
You don't.
There is a
situations where we are importing goods
and handling is done there. Yes, yes.
taken care by the importer, then we don't pay, RCM for the import of services because we are saying the goods are located
Outside India. So I was actually trying to find a way to actually bypass this in a more productive way.
No, see, I tell you what, academically when we discuss, let us understand and come to a conclusion and accept that this is the tax treatment. Now to practice this and see how we can hide the dead body,
No, sir.
then there are many ways to do
Sir,
this.
my entire concern was how to construe the word in respect of goods. Does it have to be read very broadly? That is, I'm not doing anything on the goods for me to actually fall under performance-based services for handling, sir. Because there is a circular on port authorities where the government has said it will be a recipient location-based thing. That analogy, reading that with the GST Council minutes as well, the intention of the government, can I use that target? Because the in respect of goods, there is no value addition done by me. It is just movement of goods, sir.
See, when you say in respect of those goods, your services are to be carried out those goods itself. You are indifferent as a custom clearing, when you're doing custom handling work, you're agnostic to what is the goods. Is it
right? Irrespective of what type of
whatever
goods.
it is, this paper has to be filed here, this has to be done here, this is what you need to do. That's all you're going to do.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't think it is tied to the goods. I think you're in a safe position to go into 13(2).
One last question.
Sir,
How about handling charges then? Some clearance documentation you said, but handling charges.
Now, you're handling the goods independently, and you're handling the goods, you're providing transportation, loading, unloading, packing it, etc. It is with respect to those goods, unlike you're doing representation before customs authorities. Correct, no? So therefore, I think you know the answer.
Sir, my next question is on the fact that Safari Retreat's judgment is still pending at the Supreme Court. How far will that judgment see the light of day, and how far will that judgment actually go to fetch and ensure revenue is covered? Because if my thought is, and I think many of us will have the same thought, if it is given relief in terms of warehouse construction, then for factories also to set up new factories, the eligibility would continue. So how far would courts perceive, whether would it also look at it in the same manner as the Orissa High Court, or would it actually look at the revenue implication?
Do you agree with Orissa High Court?
Yes, sir, because it actually is a back-to-back transaction, right?
See, I'll tell you what. When you construct a property with a pre-decided objective to lease it out, it is not a continuous, unbroken chain of events. Construction will culminate in OC, perfection of title in the name of the lessor. The lessor then enters into a lease with the lessee. If the lessor has entered into a lease prior to OC, then that lease is not a lease, because a promise in present to perform in future is not a contract in present.
Okay.
So therefore, what they have missed is they probably the economic continuity has weighed on their minds. What they have not recognized possibly is that this is not unbroken, it is broken. OC broken, then lease agreement entered into. Lease cannot be entered into before title is perfected in the lessor's hands. So therefore, on OC date, it is for own use. Therefore, it is hit by 17.5 C and D. Thereafter, it is let out. So therefore, Safari is not good law. And knowing the determination of the government to agitate this matter before Supreme Court, even if Supreme Court were to uphold Safari, another judgment is so therefore.
So revenue
there's
implication
no,
will prevail.
I don't see that there's any hope in claiming Safari credits, but Safari decision is very compelling to keep the case within 73.
That's true.
Not 74. So those who took Safari credit for the first 3 years are safe. Unless an amendment is made specifically to recover all the credits retrospective, notwithstanding anything contained in anything done in any country in the type of amendment they are capable. If that happens, my sense is something like that only will happen. Otherwise, there would have been an explosion of Safari notices. All those paying output tax under 9972, having credit more than 2%, must be 17.5 C and D credits.
Correct,
So there must have been would have been
Flurry of notices.
carpet bombing of notices. Since that is not there, I think government has got all the everything waiting. Whatever Supreme Court says, if they strike it down, thank you very much. If they say not strike down, retrospective.
Okay.
Last question.
Security charges are paid under forward charge even after the issue. Reverse charge.
Yashwant.
The service is put at claim.
ITC.
Now the department is demanding under reverse.
Correct. Then double, you have taken ITC, so neutralized. So pay output tax. Pay RCM. Because liability under 9.3 cannot be forgotten merely because it was wrongly paid under 9.1. So therefore, you pay again, and if it is under 73, you will get credit. If it's under 74, then nation building.
During our discussion, we were talking about the date of receipt of order. Communication of order, 11th January was an example. How do we, prove that, or it is just affirmation from the SRT side?
See, it needs to be disproved by revenue. as long as your actions are compatible with your claim. If the system log is taken out and it is seen that on 31st December at 10 PM you have opened the system, then it is not compatible. But there also there is a remedy saying notice is not on the landing page. It is action, my, others, down, miscellaneous, next year, all those things, you search and go to find your notices. Possible. That log is not possible. Take a screenshot and say on 11th only I properly opened. Otherwise, simply seeing it.
That log can also be taken actually. That log is also possible to be taken.
No, but they will have to produce the log to disprove your claim. And logically also, if you see 31st night, you are not going to see portal. Of all the things you will see, a portal, then first you are not in any condition. Then why, if 31st and 1st you are not opening the website, then why, when did you open? You'll open only to file the next return. If one was filed on 9th, don't say 11th.
We are a few people who are practicing income tax for last so many decades. And now after GST only we feel that now, no, we have to, no, we have to learn this GST also. Actually, today I was not able to, these people are technically all these things you are discussing, we are just simply spectators. But now we feel that without GST, it is income tax also we can't practice. So what you will advise for us to how to this merge this all this learning?
Take up assignments. Take up GST assignments. Take up assignments, collaborate with an intention to do it yourself and learn as it is being done. Because sir, you have to give credit to yourself. When you started income tax practice and today what Income Tax Act is in practice, there's a huge difference. How did you adapt? So you have the capability. It's just that you are probably very comfortable in income tax, but another new law is not difficult for you. Take up assignments, just jump into it.
Friends, it was a wonderful session. So I need the standing ovation to the great two, three things which I want to share. The lady which you can sit down, the lady, the meaning of that lady told no that how lucid he was. The way Jatin sir has presented the paper, no, even we used to sleep in the after the lunch. I'm admitting openly here. Nothing wrong admitting openly. I slept, okay, I slept. So he confirmed it. So, but I have seen, sir, everybody face were so laughing and so enjoying, no, the way it has gone. Really wonderful. Thanks to Jatin sir, which was but we cannot express. It was very spontaneous and very lovely session. And one more things which I want to know, because in between the sir has cracked so many jokes, you know. I remembered only two things. One is that law and craft. The two words he has used. You should be loyal to the law and craft. So all those words, you know, giving the first method, first method. The aggregators of aggregator, that is separate issue altogether. The only one thing I want to tell you that those who are practicing in the first method, no, they are not at all coming to our meeting, sir. Here I can challenge all sitting here professionals are real professional and it really interested in legal way of doing it. And they know so many chartered accountants are there in Chennai, but they never attend any conference. Because why we do attend? Because we know the law and we want to practice it. So the meaning of search, the carry, when you carry home, no, you carry home that yes, the second method is the best method. Thank you very much, sir. May I request secretary to present the formal vote of thanks, and before that we want to recognize.
Once again, before the formal vote of thanks, I would request Speaker Jatin sir to kindly felicitate the moderator and the team leaders. First, I would like to call upon Sharda Madam, Sharda Gokula Krishna Madam. Please give a big round of applause. Just a second, just a second. Next, I would like to call upon Mohit Bora. Naveen Abar.
They have not asked me who are the best group, no? You should ask, no? That is the best.
Jugal Dugar.
All the four leaders did well, yeah, at least.
Vinay Choradia.
He was in NASA, so I don't know.
And the last team, no, Vinay Choradia. And the last team leader, Bharat Kumar Yanke. From NASA.
Looking like aliens, no?
Thank you all the team leaders and the moderator for their tremendous effort. I also request all the members to please give a big round of applause for the speaker's presentation and the team leader's effort and effort taken by the moderator. So thank you one and all. I would request now Treasurer Yashwant to please give a formal vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and privilege to extend heartfelt gratitude to Jatin sir for delivering such an interactive and insightful session on departmental action and taxpayer approach and GST through practical case studies. So your immense knowledge and vast experience in the field was evident throughout the session. The depth of your understanding of the GST Act, coupled with your ability to elucidate complex scenarios, has significantly enhanced our grasp in this intricate subject. Two personal learnings I got it from you sir today. One was अगर सामने वाला खुश नहीं है मतलब हम सही जा रहे हैं and we should have loyalty towards our law and craftsmanship. So that is what the good learning I got, sir. Case studies you presented, sir, were particularly enlightening. They provided us with a practical perspective on how departmental actions unfold and how taxpayers can navigate, sir, through complexities of GST litigation, sir. Your interactive approach, encouraging questions and fostering discussions made the sessions not only informative, but also highly engaging, sir. We are incredibly fortunate to have you the opportunity to learn from someone of your caliber. Your contribution today have significantly enriched our knowledge and will undoubtedly assist us in our professional career, sir. Thank you, sir. Once again, I thank you, Jatin, sir, for your time, effort, and the wealth you've shared with us.
I would request everyone to please stand up for national anthem.
So 1 second, sir. Yeah, I would like to also thank the E Hotel and the complete management team, especially Vishal sir, for completely managing for last 1 week. He was completely working with KL sir and making this the best event. So a big round of applause for Vishal sir.
Devan sir has wrote two books. So with regard on how to reply for the Showcase notice #1, and the second book is Allied Laws. And someone interested actually can refer. Right.
Thank you.